knife round win on the train. They're not the strongest T-side team in the world, I'll be honest, on FORZE, but you also have to remember that one of the reasons why they're on a 50% win rate on train is because they also go up against a lot more very high-tier opposition, which specializes in train, compared to AGF, who probably aren't going up against some of the top 15 teams in the world. Ring around the rosies going gold, always nice to see. Some, playing around with knives. Go do that at home.
Yeah, not too replicatable, but FORZE get the start they're looking for, right? They should have the freedom of choice, go to the CT side, where, I mean, like you said, they don't get put in the hot seat of that T side, where things may not be the best, maybe a little bit more shaky. Whereas AGF, they'll have to find a bit of a spring to their step, because they started out pretty rough on their T side on Inferno. Maybe that slow start is a thematic thing, or maybe it was just Hellraisers getting the better end of things in the first series that we watched. But it'll boil down to how prepared AGF are, considering this is their map pick. They have a better overall win rate, so obviously still confidence coming in. But of course, with the caveats you mentioned, maybe they're not facing the same opposition that FORZE are.
You know what? We haven't had our good old pals Lootbed give us their odds yet. Those will be coming up in just a bit. But until then, give me a quick prediction. Oh, God damn it. We couldn't get it.
They're too quick. Our partners are too fast.
They're too quick. They're too good with their odds. That's just Lootbed for you. But we'll talk about the odds in just a bit. We might be having action early on. I'm lying. Are we? Are we not? No, we're not.
Yeah, I thought maybe we'd see a player descend rapidly. But it seems like they just cleared out the brown holes, and maybe they're coming back to do exactly that. They're grouping themselves up, and Jerry, yeah, here's that action we were looking for. Jerry, some tag damage done. He does actually spot that player out, but he's going to fall back. He wants nothing to do with the impending doom that is the ladder room.
That's so unreasonable from Jerry. He just chases after what is 3 players, but now there's a flashbang, and he's got some help in Flit, who finds that kill from camera. Unfortunately, Flit's down and traded away. Jerry's still alive and kicking their heads in as FaceCrack lives up to his name. XCBow as well, coming in with a kill of his own, and he makes it too. So, nice little round from the FORZE side, actually. I think 3 of their players kept all of their Kevlar alive, and they got to save the kit moving forward. So a lot of the investment going into the first round coming in, and you'll actually see a much healthier buy from the CTs than you're used to seeing in this one.
Yeah, not too many kill rewards either from the AGF side, considering there were 4 up for FORZE. So they're pretty. And well, given that there wasn't too many kill bonuses in, there weren't too many sort of bonuses going for the AGF side, they're just rushing through with Glocks. They're just hoping to get this bomb planted on B, overwhelm the site player. Almeza just has a deagle to deal with it, so they should be getting their wish in a moment, but hot on their heels is this flank from FORZE. They can't really get into a safe enough spot to secure an afterplant, but they get the bomb down. That's the main objective done. TMB, not long for this world, sure enough. FaceCrack tracks him down, and Jerry on the defuse. So, main objective accomplished, but FORZE still able to farm out some money on these SMGs.
The funny thing is, AGF could have absolutely won that round if they'd 4 spot, and the reason for that is because FORZE gets very greedy in their buy, and they go for 2 sets of pistols. XCBow is just the P250. Almanza, like you mentioned, had a deagle. So if that was a force buy from AGF, you're looking at a very different set of scenarios. That P250 doesn't find 2 kills that way. It probably goes down after getting a quick headshot. You're going through a smoke down that ramp as a CT side. It's much more difficult. But AGF, they themselves have a great buy as well. So we've got ourselves a bonus round from the CT side. But AGF on a full buy and an AWP. Jerry has information, though, and it's all on Almazed at this point.
Oh, a couple of kills found by Almeza. He's been able to reposition as well onto the B bomb site. The bomb dropped and exposed. The Molotov even flushing the T's back further towards the brown holes. So this bomb is firmly in the CT's possession. They can stack this site, knowing full well that AGF still have to traverse this terrain.
Quite a bit of utility still is there, though. So if Christo gets a quick pick with this AWP, his positioning was great, but unfortunately he just backs off at the wrong time. That could have been a big kill. I don't even think he spotted out the player, as Christo will then go down to Almazr soon after because of that. And it is Frostlev next to fall. TMB lost a 1v4, bomb not in his possession. Pretty impossible situation for him, unfortunately. Nice little pop flash if you guys want to take that home, but Yeah, Almazer played that really nicely, and Christo got unlucky twice. When the timing of his double scope, he flicked it a little bit, and because of that, he didn't see Almazer, and Almazer saw him. So Almazer just shoots him down, and then you're looking at a 4v2.
And that may be a bit of information gathered from that second round where AGF were like, okay, there's only one player that's going to challenge us over towards B. We can just rush him down, get this bomb planted, and play the post plants from there. But Almazer pulls 2 kills out from under AGF's clutches, and I mean, the round just turns around.
Oh.
And well, the nade combo, Jerry's in towards ladder room. He finds the kills. Exit power with the ult gets another. They're all trying to fall away. They're all trying to run from the guns of FORZE, but they're hunting.
Can we get a replay, just in case the observer is able to listen to me right now? Can we get a replay of that kill that Power got onto the player inside T connector where TMB died midair? I would really like it if we could get that. But while we wait for that, the reason why I'm asking for that is because TMB looks very funny when he dies midair to an AWP. Not because of any tactical reason whatsoever.
It just looked a little bit clumsy, a little bit comedic.
Yeah. Great round from FORZE, though, keeping all 5 players alive. You know, lots and lots of money now starting to be built up on train. Not what you want to see if you're an AGF fan.
Yeah, and while FORZE aren't the type to invest into a double AWP as well, if Christo falls with this, I can see the world where the double AWP setup comes in, then that just causes more and more issues for AGF. Push in from FORZE in towards team middle. They actually find the kills they're looking for. Christo able to trade one out, but there's a fast set of exchanges. The wallbang as well from one of the players, and well, AGF, they've lost all that team main pressure. Exit power, trying to look for more. Almazer's pushing further and further forward, and FORZE are not giving them a whole lot of room to breathe in these rounds. Just Frostlev to try and pick up any of the pieces that are left.
There's a lot of pieces left, though. That's kind of the issue. And those pieces are FORZE players. As Frostlev gets tagged down, re-peek from a deagle. Power, reasonable. Power getting into his groove is never a good sign, though. 5-0 for FORZE, and it's a lot more dominant than the scoreline shows. Unlike the previous game where Hellraisers were up 8-0, FORZE is winning with 4 or 5 players left alive consistently.
Yeah, and they pick up the double AWP as well, right? Flit recovering that from Christo's hands, so now they've got even more ranged proficiency at hand that AGF have to be able to deal with either utility or funneling these players out, lest it just be a quick entry. Obviously, it's not likely to be in a round like this, given that it's just the pistols and the armor, and although an early push is spotted out by the AGF side, it's not going to reap any rewards or any real casualties. Over towards Ivy, though, Netrix found the kill that he's looking for, and Facecrack is very, very gracious that a flash has come through. He could have very well fallen as well. It could have been an early advantage that AGF can capitalize on. The bomb dropped at Facecrack's feet. 1 kill is all he gets, and AGF have an advantage, an AWP to work with as well.
Jerry's caught up by Christo, who'd found all the pathway to sandwich, and Almazer's location is known, but will that matter? He's in a 2v2. Frostlev playing around the speedway, missing a few of those first bullets, but Power will take him down. If Frostlev had just found that clean little headshot, maybe he gets to jiggle that out, see that angle a bit more effectively. Now, though, Power with possession of the bomb, since Frostlev did drop that over, and he saw that. Now he has to deal with TMB, who will be moving in, trying to recover that. TMB, however, not quite expecting the push from T-Con. Picks up the bomb. Power is playing right behind him, and Power needs to check the extreme angles. He will see him, but not in time. He second guesses himself, and TMB will find that kill very quickly. First round on the board for AGF.
Oh, we're getting some callbacks to earlier rounds, but that came down to split seconds at the very, very tail end of that round. The fact that Exit Power is clearing all these angles, TMP is head on a swivel as well, not sure where he could have repositioned. Had an inkling that Team Main was an exposed position as well, but just the split second where he's able to adjust, scope, and find the angle faster and made all the difference. Christo with the ult finds the opening kill of this round. It is to get traded out by the AWP FORZE, and there's a lot of pressure mounting on the A side. Flit gets rushed down. The smoke as well will prevent these FORZE players from getting any sort of sight line into the bomb site. This bomb can get planted for AGF, but there's a couple CTs that are still to go unchecked.
AGF with the early picks and the early control. The question is, can they keep a hold of it? There is some utility on FORZE, so the retake could be coming in, but not when TMB and Netric are coming alive like that. XC Power at this point, remember, if he can save his AWP, that means you've got another full buy for 2 rounds straight. So AGF, number one thing on their to-do list right now is not getting the groceries, it's not getting the milk, it's not doing your homework, it's taking away the AWP of XC Power. The question is, can they find him, and can they do so without suffering heavy casualties? He has turned around. Looks like this should be a save. Oh, no. And as I say that, he misses a shot, and Lucky will take him down. 5 for 2. AGF, make sure... Actually, that kill is really, really important, because now you only have 1 more buy on FORZE. Otherwise, that could have very well been 2. And they do go for the double up.
Yeah, actually investing into it themselves. An expensive investment, particularly on the CT side. Of course, stronger on that side, but it has its own drawbacks. But yeah, the money has run out for FORZE. They had a strong set of rounds to start off this game, but once again, AGF are fighting back like we saw in the previous series. Maybe they get a bit of more of a handle on this game. I'll have to wait and see, though. The default from AGF seems to dictate 3 players over towards Ivy. Flit does have the angle scoped in. Christo meets that exact same fate, and while the double push, it seems, okay, both the ops chiming in, well, almost simultaneously from FORZE. 2 players lost for AGF, and a whole lot of map control with it. Lucky even to fall.
Well, there goes the early entries we were talking about giving AGF success. And we can see the difference between, an off peeking down Flit and a Deagle crouch peeking him. It's obviously a little bit more difficult to find that pick as a T sign, because you can never have that right eye advantage. But Netric right now, he is actually somehow able to bait out a shot. I think his shoulder was completely showing. Flit does again have a shot baited out, but XC Power is right behind to quickly secure the very crucial round for FORZE, where now they can continue to have buys for a little while longer. AGF is still in the green, though. They can still buy up, and you know what? Speaking of things that are green, one thing that isn't green is our partner's logo. It's orange and red, and that's Hellcase, which is the biggest and most known case opening website. With almost 100 cases, updated case battle, dozens of giveaways per month, and more absolutely unique features. You won't get bored with Hellcase. Use promo codes to save more and grab what you deserve. And yes, my only real segue for that was our partner's logo is not green.
Well, money certainly looking more in the green for FORZE. Is keeping some crucial players alive in that last round, has now created a little bit more of a buffer. Flit fancying his chances on a push at Ivy. He was unchecked, and while he will miss his opportunity at a frag, does significant damage to Christo. That may slow things down here for AGF. They know that Ivy is a bit of a problem area. It's not likely that FORZE will flank from that particular angle as they're working the brown holes. And while FORZE are still looking for a real sign as to the AGF camp, they're playing a lot more further back, playing more into Exit Power's AWPing and just allowing him to rotate around the map freely. But with Almazer falling, Exit Power may get caught out. In fact, he does. Frost left the double entry. It catches FORZE completely off guard. TMB still left on the lurk as well. AGF have the site, and this could be a very devastating round. TMB finally pulls the trigger. Could find more players on the FORZE side to make this money a dire set of circumstances for the CT side. And TMB is taking heads. He's taking names. The A bomb site's his. His teammates have the B one. He doesn't even need the support.
When I see XC Power in that position, I'm thinking, okay, he gets 1 kill, and then it depends on whether AGF's aim is on point, whether or not they can take him down with the second player before he drops down. So there's some possibility of him bringing it back. What I'm not thinking is that XC Power will whiff the shot, and Frostlev just gets 2 kills, which means that TMB, who's supposed to be the late lurk to catch up rotations, is now just the guy who gets all the good old cleanups, who's hunting them all down. XC Power, though, has been given the fate of an AWP, as now that AWP has to come in and strike through.
Yeah, the rest of his team, not quite graced with the same weaponry, is unfortunately unable to support. Exit Power gets nothing for that big investment. They're getting Molotov to burn to a crisp. Flitjo in the connector. It's yeah, this is how the round should play out, given the buy advantage that AGF have. It's a cute idea. It's a nice little curveball to throw in, but it ultimately results in nothing. Just to go back to that previous round as well, it's very unfortunate timing, it seemed, from Exopower, because he wanted to rotate back towards A, and he gets caught out. Very, very well managed on the AGF side to catch them sleeping.
Yes, some good fortune, but let's be honest, at some point or the other, it comes back to bite you, or you gotta have bed. It's always good to keep in mind, but it's also good to keep in mind that, hey, maybe they had some information. Maybe because of the fact that TMB's managed to push him that far, and he knows that from Sandwich he's got control, there's no one inside Ivy. He knows that, there's probably going to need to be a rotation call. So the read of the map coming out from AGF has to be taken into account as well. So it's just really good stuff to see. Some more really good stuff to see would have been a full buy from the CT side. Unfortunately, it's just some alright stuff. It's an alright buy. They've got an MP9, they've got the AWP, but no Molotovs will be a big sore thumb for them.
Well, Lucky getting so much distance towards the A-bomb site could have caused concerns. FaceCrack does deal with that concern, however. Catching Lucky using the smoke as a bit of coverage. Frostlev as well, trying his chances, but Exopower has the mark. Up from Christo will take out and trade that kill, however. Still a man disadvantage for AGF to operate out of, and some team-main presence to be had, but FORZE are here still in presence. They've got a fast rotate available as well, and with Jerry causing so much havoc in towards the ladder room, things could have gone askew, but they found the 2 kills they needed to equalize. In fact, they go one further. Christo with 3 thus far.
Flit was scoped into T-Con. I think that's what happened. I don't think he was actually expecting someone on top of the train, and Almaza is not expecting a flashbang in front of him. So he does end up going down. And with that, what looked like it should have been a FORZE round because of a few very good kills and a lot of good map control ends up going the way of AGF. We saw Frostlev going down in Ivy. We saw FaceRag able to use his farmers to get control over T-Con early. And I thought, you know what? They've taken it. They've managed to get away with an inferior buy, but AGF, very good mid-round awareness, and I will say, definitely some good play from Christo, and that's what pulls him through.
Yeah, we really saw him awaken in the last series towards the tail end of the game, and he's carrying over that good form to bring this scoreline ever closer. Pistols brought up from FORZE. They tried to deal with a bit of the economy that AGF have built up. Their money is looking very healthy on this T side now that they've got a few rounds in a row under their belt. And well, okay, yeah, Flit just gets annihilated from the server, and this Ivy pressure likely means the A-bomb site is soon to be compromised.
I think that's the third time I've seen Netric just crouch down and one-tap Flit. He's probably a bit frustrated by that at this point. FaceCrack comes in with 1. Picks up the AK, but Netric's just pretty damn good at this game, apparently. It's that's a thing. Who would have known?
Well, it's an experience that I've yet to have my own self.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm so speechless, because I don't really have anything to add to the conversation after that.
How to be good at this game? Well, it comes down to a lot of patience, it seems. AGF have played out so many of these rounds out slowly. They've gotten a bit more of a read, it seems, on how FORZE are setting themselves up as well. Maybe these, like we were sort of calling back to a point you were making earlier, just these small little tells that could be available, especially on a map like Train, where because it is such a large map to play around, small bits of utility can be a big indicator as to how the CT side are setting up. And while that may not be the case, maybe AGF are going off a feel, instinct, just some good communication. Those can always play a factor.
Go B, then go A.
Yeah, it could be as simple as that. Flip a coin. Lady Luck decides that A is the target.
I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt just because they're Danish, though.
Yeah. It's their own map pick as well, so they're showing exactly why. A good T side thus far. 6 rounds is really the benchmark. Now everything else on top is gravy.
Well, Forza would really like to prevent that gravy from coming through on the plate, but Christo and Frostley finding 2 early kills are not going to be shaping out too well for them. A 3 versus 4, and TMB has managed to come through Speedway yet again, repositioning himself for the second duel, but Almaza comes out on top there, and now that Jerry's taking down Netric, this 2v2 becomes a lot more difficult, especially as Jerry can chime in with another one. Frostlev, 2 CTs to get past, and he has to be the one to do it. He's been fantastic this game and the previous one, but he has to come through big time. Flashbangs through will force Almaza to think twice and maybe stay on that angle for a bit longer, but Frostlev actually is playing this a bit more sneaky. Almaza knows he has possession of the bomb, but he doesn't know where Frostlev is going to be coming from. So this 1v1 is very much a game of the minds. Sherlock Holmes, Moriarty, maybe that's where we're going with. Or maybe it's just going to be, something closer where Frostlev just pushes through and finds a quick kill.
And which of these two is going to do the detective work a little sharper than the other? A lot of clues to be found, backs to be checked. Almaza is limiting the angles in which he can be approached. He knows that if he takes Sanctuary in towards T-Main, can at least keep eyes on the bomb, and while he catches Frostlev completely unaware, we have our true Sherlock Holmes in Almaza. He clutches things back, FORZE win the round, and actually keep themselves in a lead as well.
There you go. I'm actually very curious, though, to see how FORZE adjust going into their T side if they do not get 9. So at this point, that's the ultimate requirement, and you can look at their money. Their money is terrible. You have an XM on Jerry's hand. Sure, that can do damage, but the Scout on XC Power as well significantly hampers his kill potential. Luki's down early, aggressive. Jerry goes down without getting anything with the XM, and that leaves it up to Almaza on this B bomb side. At least he's got an AK, but what can Almaza do over here?
No, Lucky's still trying to cause some problems over towards A. In fact, it's a switcheroo from AGF. They're making sure that they're keeping FORZE on their toes. Lucky is still creating space over towards Old Hell. Still taking names as well. FaceCrack's lost track of him. He was fighting him earlier on, and Lucky has slipped on by. Still pushing forward towards Ivy, and while he gets caught out by Flit, he's created the space he needs to. The site is firmly under AGF's control, and while a desperate spray from Flit will come through, a spray right back from TMB will be his demise. Exit power just to try and save that AK forward. This is kind of ridiculous to see. That's so many rounds in a row we've seen AGF get out through Olaf, pass towards that sort of sandwich position, and FORZE haven't made any adaptations.
The weird thing is also, it's not even like it's a TMB speciality where you can say, hey man, he's really popping off. We're just having some hard times taking duels with him, because he is 15-7. Let's not make any mistakes about it. TMB's a beast right now. But that was Lucky in the previous round. He's not even having a great game.
Maybe he's as good a player as he is a coach. Just says, yeah, you can get out there for free. Don't worry about it. Just keep him busy.
I don't even know he's a coach, but all right.
Yeah, he may or may not be. That's a complete creating narratives for myself. Either way, that's some good stuff from AGF. They've been able to put a lot of pressure on towards that A site thus far. The rounds that FORZE have found these advantages have been off of pushes, either was towards T-Main or Ivy. So now that things have been spotted out, the little double stack towards Ivy to do some significant damage on Frostlev, it's cute. It doesn't get them the frag, but it certainly scares Frostlev off. And while AGF are still sitting in their default, waiting to see if there's anything more unexpected from FORZE, they are grinding this clock down and just waiting to see what happens. Another shotgun purchase, this time not the XM.
That's really telling, but unfortunately, Christo takes down FaceCrack, and you do have a boosted farmer, so that could come through with some good sprays. Finds the first, needs to drop down, but he stays too long. Netric's been given the duel, and Jerry's positioning is very good considering Frostlev is on a sliver of HP, and with the MP9 he will get that kill 100% of the time. He backs off as well, so he's got great positioning, but Almaza with the Mag 7 needs to come up big as they're coming into the B-bomb side. He's waiting around the corner, but he misses the shot by a country mile. And Lucky takes him down a 2 versus 3 with a scout in the hands of XC Power. Not an easy task whatsoever.
Yeah, no kit available on either of these players either. A smoke, a flash, the AK from Jerry is at least good for the trade. And it's brought into the 1-on-2, but he's getting caught in transition. Atop the ladder, he just narrowly clips it. And Netric will fully take advantage. A 1-half by AGF, 8-7. You were saying you kind of want to see a position where FORZE are maybe on the back foot as they go into their T side. We get the reality of it.
And you can look at the reality of it on your screen right here. They were up 6-2. And from that, you're down 7-8 at the end of the half. That's not very good. And especially to touch on a point you brought up earlier, which was that TMB was just finding Olaf in the Speedway every single round. Lucky came in for one as well. And FORZE didn't know how to deal with that. FORZE were not getting T-Con control early. FORZE was not getting Pop Dog control early. FORZE was not really playing, right close to the meta as you would normally expect. But now, well, the question is, what are our boys over at Loopbet saying, our good old pals? And they're saying that AGF is favored to win this 1.4 to 2.8. And having seen FORZE's T side in the past, unless they've made significant improvements, I don't think that's unfair.
Yeah, maybe what we were saying as well, the fact that AGF maybe get off to these slow starts as well, is a thematic device that they use to build tension.
A Shakespearean product over here, and AGF, well, as long as no one says Macbeth, they should be fine. Netric trying to fight back as Pop Dog has been taking control of. The bomb train's been traversed upon, and TMB is caught off in the back lines. Jerry to take him down. Flit, who has transcended to the heavens, is going to be giving a nice little vantage point as well as information. Christo playing from Connector will be the big man to keep an eye out for. He's waiting for the first contact to be made by Lucky, creeping in from 1.6. Frostlev to find one. Lucky trying to swing, but Flit takes him down. Christo, however, now coming in late. Like I said, he is the big man, but XC Power's got the big gun. The B250 on the pistol round, also deadly, but can it find the kill? No, it can't. Christo comes in, shuts him down. 4 kills from him. Really nicely played from the Connector. And FORZE, unfortunately for them, they cannot turn this Shakespearean play into a tragedy for AGF.
Yeah, right now it's looking more like a chick flick, a good old-fashioned romance comeback story, because AGF, they started on the back foot, and now they're the top dog. They get to look at their boss in the eye and say, "No, you're fired." So it's all going good for them. They win the pistol. It's some good signs, but the rifles are out now from FORZE. The Galils are out in spades, but they don't have the utility to really back any of this up, right? So now that they've thrown these smokes, you'd expect some sort of action behind it, but for now it's stagnant.
It's a good chick flick.
Yeah,
that's what I'll say.
I'm enjoying it.
I love
happy
it.
to have you
I
as
love
my
a good chick
date.
flick. Yay. Hooray. Let's go. It's crazy, stupid love, and it's 9-7. AGF have got to come through in this one. There is the full rifle buy available on FORZE, but they need to make sure they can toughen it up. So far, good little start for them. Lucky showing Almaza how it's done with the Mag 7 before he goes down. XC Power will be trying to chime in with some pistols as well. Molotov goes into the back lines. That'll just be giving him a little bit of assistance if he wants to dart around between the gap. But a 2 versus 3 for the CT side. But with the bomb being planted, no one really knows how it'll go. Netric is on the back lines, but XC Power, having pushed all the way forward, is a great little angle for him. Even though he has 2 HP, he at least has a range advantage, but Netric catches him off, takes him down, and Almaza, no Molotov on you, my friend, so be careful if you're trying to find the Flames of Passion. Finds the one, looking for more. Nade comes in, but can they get the defuse? Netric picks up the kit, but Almaza's missing the shots. No, he doesn't go.
Oh no.
I mean, that's just...
I can't believe it. Frostlev is the one that's looking to cover the defuse, but he's on such low HP. He's the one with the kit. He has to be the one that gets on the defuse. But because he has that low HP, he doesn't want to drop down. He dies, the kit drops, he recovers it, and it's by the slimmest of margins that he gets the defuse off as well. The stars just align for AGF in that round. It looked like FORZE were so close to having it.
lazy writing is what it is.
I'm kept in suspense though.
I agree. Amaza hoping to swing out. TMB is trying to spray through the smoke and is caught out. FORZE coming out on top of that duel at the very least, but remember, they do still have somehow, they actually have a full buy with an AWP out for XP power as well, so still looking like they are the superior firepower. AGF with quite a bit of map control on the bright side, but not an easy task in front of them whatsoever if this ends up being an A-side hit, which it looks like it should be.
Yeah, they've got all the elements prepared. They're just waiting for a response, it seems. And no real retake potential from AGF either. It has to be an opening shot case at the bomb site. Netric getting overwhelmed over towards Ivy. Means that this A bomb site is weaker and weaker, and a dropping shot from Jerry. That's flashy. In fact, the flash is what secures him that frag as well, and well, AGF, they have no presence left on that site, so looking like a clean state of affairs in this round from FORZE.
Yeah, the early duel perhaps a bit ambitious from AGF to take, where it's very risky to take 2 players into Ivy, put 1 person next to the generator, and then have the other one try and spray it down through the smoke. Because the problem is that you have literally no support from the second player. The generator player cannot swing out because it's so easy to nade it out. It's so easy to molly him out. It's so easy to bring him down that at that point, you're not getting map on that one player. And he's basically useless in the first initial duel, while one of your players is being shot down by potentially 2 or 3 people from the same angles. And that's exactly what we see over here. Because they don't have enough players over towards E-Box or over towards Sandwich, they can't even try and respond by taking control of Deacon when they see that there's 3 players over at Ivy. So, unfortunately, it's a very way. I personally don't like it very much, but I know some teams make it work just off the basis of very, very hyper defensive play from the second player.
Well, risk isn't always met with reward, as we've quickly encountered. And we'll look to see if there's a significant response from AGF. A good sign of a team that's comfortable on a map is whether they've got these small little sort of nuanced plays where maybe it seems like they're going for sort of ambitious pushes with rough weaponry or not, but this will be something that they've practiced, and we'll see if there's anything cutesy coming through. But by and large, it seems pretty standard proceedings. Just the pistols and the rifles that have been brought through, trying to take advantage of maybe unsuspecting FORZE players. But Flit has gotten himself into the position that caused FORZE so many issues before and found himself a kill. But that's a rifle that can potentially be recovered and cycled over to the CT side. Fortunately for them, Jerry gets the response, but there's an immediate trade again.
FORZE are at a good spot over here to take control of the A site with the utility that they have, but Almaz has made a lot of noise. So with his position being known, they're going to be trying to come out of T-Con, but he's been smoked off, so T-Con is no longer anywhere as safe. However, that smoke reveals that trick position. FaceCrack and company feel much more confident going forward, but Frostlive is still left to be dealt with, and he is dealt with very quickly. There you have it. 10-9 AGF. Their lead is retained for a while longer, but it looks like FORZE is destined to equalize.
Yeah, and they're doing it in a similar fashion that AGF were doing, right? They're building up an economy on this T side now that there's a buffer established. And so AGF will have to grind out many a round to finally break the bank. A timeout called, seems by FORZE, if I'm reading the graphic correct. So just getting an idea of where the AGF economy sits, because it could have been... There was potential for it to be a save round from AGF last time, but because they bought into it, just maybe coming to terms with that.
You also have to be very wary if you're AGF about the fact that if you're in a 3v3 like that, you're not just in a disadvantage because you're the CT side, you're also in a disadvantage because of the experience of FORZE.
Yeah.
And it's not something that's discussed very often, but there is a very big disparity of experience sometimes within, the tier 2 level of Counter-Strike, even in places like Europe. And that can come in pretty big time in rounds like that one, where it looked like AGF was primed to be in a great position to at least contest, but it ended up being completely one-sided for FORZE.
Well, it's just standard issue pistols from the AGF side, so they're biting the bullet, allowing Forza to operate. Could still do some damage here, because Forza are congregating towards the B side of the map, and while they have nobody clearing their flank, TMB is right behind them. Had an opportunity at maybe dealing some damage to Flit, but now he recognizes that his back was exposed, so he'll pick that up accordingly. Jerry, meanwhile, causing some havoc on the A-bomb site, but does fall for his troubles.
And Flint to take down TMB. I mean, this is just an easy enough round for Forza. There's nothing really much to it.
It's always interesting to see how willing teams are to hunt these players down when they know they have nothing. Just because it can be more expensive than it's worth the risk taking, but you know, sometimes just about confidence as well, though.
You say confidence, I say stats.
That they both contribute to the same thing. I look at the stat page after the match. If I've gone positive, I'm feeling good about myself. If I'm negative, I should have gone for more eco frags.
See, that's as fair. That's the kind of thing that makes me wonder how the hell you want a pro.
Yeah, my hands don't work.
The eternal caster's curse. Given a voice, but not the hands. Now, though, the question is, can we let the players with the hands do the talking? As XC Power is yammering on with kill after kill, Christo going down early on is not a good sign, especially with the kind of investment that they are putting into his hands with the AWP. And TMB, he's turned around, he's running over towards A. I think this is a safe call where you're gambling or you're saving. It's one or the other. I like the call from AGF.
Yep. Now, this is a sustainable line of thinking, right? You don't want to engage in this. Even if you had somehow slithered out a round win in this circumstance, your money would be so broke if it came down to a one-on-one as well. So taking a gamble as well is it's a bigger picture plan. Of course, Forza have the money to hunt them if they really want to.
No, I completely agree with you here, but this is where, you know, those rounds where you talked about how willing are you to hunt down the other team? If that round, the previous one, had AGF getting 3 or 4 kills, this one's very different because now you can see how comfortable Forza are in hunting right now against rifles. With 2 of their players, I think, you know, you're sacrificial, you die, we don't care, it's fine to see if you can find anyone.
Yeah.
Comparatively, if you've lost 2 or 3 players, you can't do that anymore. Which is why very often it's not even about the risk of losing weapons, it's about the restrictions that you're putting on yourself later on when you're this late into the game. Because if you're in a position where you feel like you can't hunt them, in that case, you're potentially giving up what could just be the immediate win condition for your team if you bring down 2 M4s.
Yeah. Because those M4s could have unseen impact in the following round, right? So
yes. And, I mean, they don't have a buy in that case if you just leave them with 2 players alive, so that's all obviously very important. Now, though, they're trying to go for aggression to make up for lost firepower. Unfortunately, lost firepower is found in the hands of XC Power, which is not the brightest of places to find it. Frostliv, however, he hasn't lost anything. He's still alive and he's kicking them out of his bomb site, but unfortunately for him, karma comes back to bite him, and it is in the form of face crack. Christo, not able to get that kill either, and it leaves things in a 1 versus 3 for Netric.
a couple of these players really tagged down low, so certainly a possibility for Netric to make this work. Nades available as well, no smokes, but ones that could push these players over the line. Netric, he seems to be going for it. The nade in towards the site is that player low enough? It doesn't quite hit. And so Exit Power will take him down. That was a bit of splash damage where had that landed in the right spot. That's maybe a 2-for-1, but the Star's not quite aligning that exact same way. Frostlev taking up that position after his teammate had just died to the AWP is a brazen one, but it seemed to work well enough for AGF to equalize. They just couldn't hold on to it.
It's also a little bit unlucky there because his second round, quote-unquote, of spraying was while he was dropping down. Otherwise, he would have found the 3 kills that he needed to win the round. Unfortunate, but, you know, he finds 2, which is obviously great as well. AGF do have a buy now because of the earlier decision to save the 4 M4s, and now they have a double AWP, you mean?
Yeah, first time we're getting to actually see this one in action from the AGF side as well. TMB over towards the A-bomb site. Meanwhile, Christo He is located over towards the connector, just outside of B, just making sure that he is ready for them to move on forward. Catches them as they begin to descend on the site. Missed shot as they converge. Does actually unscope before firing off another shot, but Lucky is still alive on the bomb site and causing havoc. The bomb dropped in the middle of the site as well, so a recoverable enough position from FORZE, but one that was slightly awkward to get to.
And with Flip finding those two incredible, I think that does put them in a much better position. Flip ready to come alive, and indeed he is very much living the dream. Left alone versus one on the site at least, but XC Power with that Molotov, he's not going to be able to find a free post plant because of course there is a smoke down. Netric is now going to be going up against the pistol. How do you have the confidence to use your AWP over there? Like, how? You get the kill, you're great. XUL, I love you. But how do you have the confidence to go for hey, I'm not going to use my pistol this time. I will literally just shoot the slowest weapon in the entire game into the smoke.
It's process of elimination, I think. He fired at one line. He's like, yep, he's not there. Fired another line. Okay, there he is. What a round from Flit, man. 4 kills, just pushing further and further forward in AGF's face, and they couldn't stop him. A huge round win for FORZE, where AGF, they could have gotten to grips to their economy, but instead of pushed back down again onto a bit of a scrappy buy with SMGs, inefficient rifles. They've got the scout mixed in. Of course, these can still be deadly, but it takes a lot more effort to get there. And FORZE looking very, very strong. So much money built up.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the big reasons why I'm such a big fan of Flit is just because of how he performs in Mercy rounds, where if he has to come through in a clutch, even if he's having a bad game, which so far he's not been having, the greatest of games, he comes through with 3 kills right there. 8 HP, doesn't matter. Post plant, 2v4, turns it into a 1v1. Great stuff from him. TMB now, though, rotating over at the perfect time, puts 3 players on this B bomb site, and the CTs are ready to party.
Oh, first kill doesn't go Lucky's way. They line up for TMB. They don't really check for FORZE. They'll have 3 players. 1 too many that FORZE may not have anticipated, but they still find the kills. Netric is all that's left, and he went for a push through Ivy, hoping to flank out any sort of A-side presence, but he has missed the mark. Jerry has evaded capture. The bomb still looking to go down as they're unsure where Netric could be located. Like, oh, he's usually the Ivy player. He must be about here somewhere. So Jerry turns his attention to behind, and you'll catch Netric looking the wrong direction. FORZE seem to be getting into these bomb sites rather convincingly. It's about this sort of slow progress that AGF are finding in creating little speed bumps, but the speed bumps aren't all too significant.
And I feel very bad for AGF because earlier on they were, just playing passive. XC Power was holding them down. Later on they tried getting aggressive, but the firepower deficiency came back to bite them, and they'd very rarely get the opening kill. And now they're making the right rotations, and they're still letting go of the bomb site. So it's just a bit of a, being outfragged. Flit over here showing us exactly that as he takes down Christo. Face Crack moves forward with Almaza, takes down 2 more players. And it seems like this will just be a good old feel-good round for FORZE. They keep all 5 players alive, and a 15-10 puts them at map point for the first map.
Well, it seems that FORZE have worked on their T sides. We're kind of shaky coming into it. Weren't too sure what version we'd get, but by and large, it feels as though AGF just haven't been able to create the right win conditions on their CT side, right? They've gotten their hands on the AWP a couple of times, but they're still losing players before those ops really get the chance to do anything, or not really investing in the right utility to slow down pushes such that these ops can be too efficient. And FORZE are just filled with confidence. They're capped on money on a few of their players, and they just want to go out and take fights. Flip in with one as they emerge out of the T connector, and they're just taking names. Face Crack, Jerry, they're all contributing. Lucky's left in a 1 versus 4, then he really has no hope in winning. Jerry finds the last kill, 16-10 for FORZE on our first map.
And FORZE were worrying us in the middle there for good reason as well. But they come back alive. XE Power, quick shout out to him. He had a dip in form after the first few rounds where they weren't doing too well afterwards. On the CT side, XE Power really did quiet down. But on T side, he comes right back, picks up the op, and he looked very, very good on it. It's actually a very common criticism that is levied against him is that he's not the best in the world at playing on the T side with the AWP. But it's obviously something he's been working on. Similarly, a few of those other players had their moments where, they're shaking a little bit, but they bring it back at the end of the day.
Yeah, some really emergent rounds from the likes of Flit. I went through some of the FORZE players. You were like, Flit's the best player. Why'd you miss him out? So I apologize. He had some really, really good moments for the team. But yeah, Exit Power also kind of coming online in spurts really helped elevate the team and just the consistency that the rest of the core seemed to provide. It seemed as though Christo came in with a really good mentality as well, finding a lot of good picks, a lot of good performances early on, but then things start to taper off because you can't get an AWP into his hands. The economy never really got going on their CT side, and things just kind of fell apart from there.
And you could also see just from on the CT side, how much of a firepower deficit they were in. Because on the CT side, a lot of the rounds they were getting was because TMB just outpositioned them by getting down speedway quickly, and we had no idea what FORZE was doing over there. But, he always capitalized. At the end of it all, though, he was 18 and 18, or maybe 18 and 19, not sure about that. And that's just not good enough, unfortunately. That being said, though, the question is, will they be good enough in the next round? They can't quite get through in their own map pick. Next one coming up is Dusty, and that one is picked by FORZE. We'll be back after a short break to bring you that. Welcome back to Malta Vibes, brought to you by Gaming Malta, a home of gaming excellence. And this is indeed gaming excellence. We've got ourselves some fantastic games coming in, very back and forth, lots of interesting decisions made. And I don't just mean interesting, I mean actually quite interesting as well. We've got AGF versus FORZE. First map, unfortunately, not quite going the way of AGF, despite it being their map pick. That was Train. Second map coming in is Dust 2. Yumi. You have qualms about this map.
Yeah, I don't know. I have like one of those cognitive biases that I'm very aware of, where I just not a huge fan of the map. I don't think it's ever really been in a comfortable enough position where even if you're a team that picks it, you can be super confident that it's going to go your way. Whereas you look at a map like Overpass, Nuke, if you're well tenured, you're well practiced, I feel like the better tactical team always comes out ahead. I don't ever feel like Dust 2 has really provided that. I'm open, as a little change my mind segment. I'm open to being swayed on that. I know you have a bit more of a tactical prowess or like an understanding of the map, so I'm open minded in that sense. But I mean, coming into this, FORZE look like the statistically better team. They've picked it as their own map as well, and it'll feel good that they took their opponent's map pick as well.
Oh, that's always great. But remember, this is where I start to borrow from what you just said, which is where you're never really sure if you're winning Dust 2, even if it's your map pick. And against a team like AGF, where you are very heavily favored, I personally don't like this pick very much. I would have honestly really liked FORZE to go for a nuke pick, even though I know AGF likes to play nuke. I know AGF loves to play nuke. I just think FORZE's nuke is amazing. Like, FORZE's nuke is, for me personally, hands down their best map. But they go for Dust 2, a little bit more risky, but what's life without a bit of risk in it? And what's life without a bit of risk being involved? So the question is, how much risk is there? Because the players from FORZE were hitting their shots, but there were times when, XE Power kind of teetered off in that Train CT side after the first 6 rounds. Flit wasn't having the best of games until he came through and clutched out some crazy stuff. So you could see some firepower going the way of AGF.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you sort of look at it from an AGF point of view as well, right? They were sort of able to exploit so many times that sort of speedway position over on Train. Maybe they're able to find a similar exploit from FORZE. I don't know how they're going to quite crack the case, because Dust 2 is such a default-oriented map that even on the CT side, you should understand all the timings like the back of your hand. But there's always that chance, right? Maybe there's the FORZE overconfidence there. AGF, there's no way they read into this, but we never know, and that's mainly where my issues come with this map. I like consistency. Consistency is key, and that's why I've never been the best CS player. But it's always up for debate.
Yumi, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Have you ever seen? Actually, I'm sure you've played Face It. I'm sure you do play Face It. Where does your knife run happen on Dust 2?
Yeah, usually long.
Really? Well, you know what? We've got ourselves LoopBet, which is saying that the odds favor FORZE, and our good old pals over there are having a bit of a hard day today with how back and forth everything is. But I think at the end of the day, they have come out on top, at least with the correct prediction at the very end of it. But in Asia, all the Dust 2 knife runs happen in mid.
It's a gamble, really, but yeah, long is quite often. I think it's just kind of a get it over and done with kind of mentality.
Yeah. It's just something I quickly noticed. I've never seen that before. But you know what? Tagged up TMB is probably not the best of ways to start the round off, and the question is, how does AGF adjust, as they have seen where XE Power is? He's moving in behind them. They're actually turning around and running from him. XE Power's got a force field around him. He's pushing them back all on his own, and because they're walking and he's walking, it means no one's really gaining on anyone, and that's all the better for XE Power, because FaceCrack is now here to stall away, let him come in from behind, and he just has to wait, and he's taking the duels. XE Power finds 2 kills. FaceCrack and Almaza to finish things off. Really nicely done from FORZE over there.
The timing and the confidence on that from Exit Power is, I see why he's there and I'm here, because that after you get spotted out like that, you kind of assume that you'll kind of fall back to a more passive position. You play it a bit more safe. Exit Power just pushes the boundaries. He's just saying, nah, your intent, you don't plan on going up short, up towards Cat. I'm just gonna take advantage of that. And he's there so quickly that AGF don't even consider the flank.
Triple FORZE. Oh, that nade looked like it should have done a lot more damage than it did. Jerry, unfortunately, does get CSGO'd a little bit, but he's more than happy to get a collateral kill with the MP9. How? How do you get a collateral with an MP9? Through 2 heads.
Well, it certainly helps when there's not much between the heads that he's fighting. That's low. Now, yeah, low hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit. I think
and by that he means head armor.
Yeah,
that's what he means. Because obviously, you know, if there's head armor there, the MP9 not quite the same penetration power to be able to get 2 quick kills in. Yeah, saved it. Don't worry, I got you. Luki moving in. Pass towards Blue Bins very early on, taking that contest. The Molotov coming in is going to be forcing him out of the position, but is he going to be able to keep himself around? 4 HP on him, should really be spammed down by now, but somehow or the other has managed to evade it for a while.
Yeah, for a while being a critical point of this, and while they'll push up through mid to try and take advantage of the B-bomb site, well, they get gunned down by a push from Flit. This has been that was a pretty scrappy first gun round from AGF, not losing or not winning any of the fights over towards long, and just finding players in awkward positions throughout. Didn't really seem one that they had too much control in at any given moment.
It was a very cool replay. It looked like the replay emerged out of the smoke.
Yeah.
It was very nice. Nice little optical illusion. XC Power, in the meanwhile, is under no illusion of his capability to peek down mid in a round like this. He knows AGF's money is not great, and he doesn't care if there's a deagle firing random pot shots. XC Power repositions, takes down Netric, who was trying to get himself in to play for a flashbang for short. But XC Power's general change of positions will be coming back to worry him a little bit over here. Grenade, spray, all of the above coming in. Almaza will just be making short work of this. AGF shouldn't really have anything to do in this round.
Desperate attempt being taken. TMB actually managing to weasel himself a kill, an MP9 grabbed as well. But yeah, Face Crack has found him in the lower tunnels, nothing further found. So the AWP finally comes out for Christo. I think this is where things can begin to turn around. He was having some really good performances on Train. We got to see it on Inferno earlier on in the day as well. I think there is some substance to be had, issue being that issue now presented, though, that Flit and Exit Power both have their own AWPs as well to contest it. So it's not going to be all smooth sailings, but there's certainly a possibility. I think TMB just going for a spawn-based pick to start things off. But that should make its way back over to more welcome hands. TMB actually finding the pick as well. A lot of patience on display on the corner.
Good old one-way smoke in the corner, always helpful. Face Crack, however, going down is less so. Can't quite find that first kill either. XC Power and Flit now on the bomb site, playing the good old double op on a single site setup. It's actually quite good over here to take down anyone from long, but it obviously leaves Almaza in a very sticky situation. And with XC Power being smoked off early on, that means that he's been forced off the angle, but it also means that Flit has a slightly easier time coming back onto the side if he so desires. He's chosen wrongly, though, as he has gone back towards mid.
Yeah, because the mid rotation came in so early, they have to make sure that short's no concern. That flash is perfect to delay even further. Frostlife pushing further forward. They almost catch them going for the boost up into towards the site. 2 players trapped in towards CT. Exit Power on the rotations there to do so much work. Exit Power finding another one emerging from short. Christo is left to do it with an AK, and Exit Power hits it all. 4 kills for him, and he just does everything he needs to prevent any sort of push from AGF.
Remind me not to doubt FORZE picking Dust 2 again. If XC Power is hitting shots like that, that is insane.
But that's the consistency, right? It's, do they hit those shots? Do they have this long string of rounds? Exit Power still hasn't died. So, I mean, as far as consistency goes, he's hitting every single mark. He's checking all the boxes.
Also, really good positioning from overall, and I really liked how Almaza was able to use his AK in that round too, just making sure that there's not... Ooh, nade. This time does a bit more damage than last. Jerry's going to be happier with that. Jerry can't quite move in. Flit finding TMB, taking him down, but Flit will fall as the Tech-9 comes in to trade. Almaza now once again forced over towards mid, is in a much more precarious position, but Jerry getting that kill is massive. Almaza can turn around and find a few more, moves past the smoke, finds a kill, finds the bomb, and finds the round for his team with a second kill. Christo's got a CZ, sure, but that CZ's not going to find anything, as now it's a 6-0 FORZE in a very commanding lead.
Yeah, and they keep hands on both those AWPs as well. So the most expensive part of the investment saved over. AGF now onto another buy for themselves. Again, Christo's on the AWP. You know, they've got the bells and whistles. But they were met with pretty brutal forces on the FORZE side last time this happened. Not all going to be smooth sailings. Could have actually looked like they were almost setting up for the boost, but instead playing a bit more standard. Over at long, though, Lucky's found a kill, but Jerry responds through the smoke, even finding TMB sitting in flames, trying to refrag.
Lucky tried to contest for the crossover towards Pit early on, and unfortunately he wasn't quite able to do more than just a single kill, and the rest of his team was forced back. FrostLevin and Marza trading kills puts into a 2v3, doable for the T side, but very, very difficult. That smoke will help with the one way it grants FrostLev, but he can't position himself in time. Great flick from Christo, though, will at least give him the bomb plant, but he peeks up again, finds Flick in the jump, and Christo is now up against Almaza, who's got himself the M4 and a bit of utility. But Christo, with his AWP, he's feeling like he's hot fire, and I have no reason to doubt him. He's coming in from the side, positioning is great. Almaza is expecting him to peek in from above, and Christo has single-handedly won his team the round with all the bells and whistles, as you put it.
What a great display from Christo at the end there. This first shot, sure, that's a nice one, but this on the flick. Flit's just trying to try his chances, jumping and shooting, but Christo, he was so prepared. And after that, it's just about tracking down that final player. A good way to get on board for AGF. Does that smell of consistency? Can they bring it to more rounds? I'm still doubtful, but that is a good morale boost at the very least for their T side. And for this round, it seems like they're going to get some long control for free. In fact, working up slowly towards this A site faster than FORZE may realize.
FaceCrack is in a good position, but is it good enough? When the smokes come in, he can't do much, but he will find damage and push them back. Unfortunately for him, it's a trap, and TMB is the one who has set it. Jerry, playing from the other side of the smoke, has a great angle. They try to wide swing him, but it's TMB to get the kill from the elevated position instead. 4 versus 3, XC Power looking to equalize, but he cannot find that one frag. And with Luki right around the corner, the flashbang to blind him out. XC Power forced out of position. He can't get anything else. Luki ducks down, crouches away, takes a bow, and that will be the curtain call. Flit can find a kill here or there. He can find a second, but this round will go the way of AGF. And I have to quickly point out, this was exactly how Train started as well.
Yep.
FORZE was up 6-0. AGF wins 2 rounds off some great individuals. And right now, it's exactly what it looks like. FORZE, their money is not good either. So you could very well see them being pushed into a corner, but that corner is one that Flit is ready to fight out of.
Yeah, he's done so much damage. Creating enough space as well for him to keep this weapon into the next round. Almost tempts fate a little bit. And ult in hand for Lucky. But Flit, I mean, he's showing exactly why he's the secondary AWPer of the team. A little bit of a nomination for primary, but you've seen what Exit Power is capable of. This man started out 8-0, so you can't really fault him too much. But yeah, there's some flashbacks to, of course, our first map. And of course, we have a flashback, of course, to our partners over at Hellcase. Of course, Hellcase is the biggest and most well-known opening website with over 100 cases, update case battles, dozens of giveaways per month, and more absolutely unique features. You won't get bored with Hellcase. Go and use the promo codes to save and grab what you deserve.
AGF are not going for long control this time, and as a result of that, mid control they're finding a little bit more challenging than they expected. Flit, great nade, that one's gonna do a lot of work in forcing the T's back and giving him enough time to come in for the repeat, which he will get. Jerry with a kill from short is quite a nice addition as well. Frostlev has to come up and step up. Unfortunately, no real chances for them in this round.
Yeah, just 19 HP unlucky. Rather unfortunate thus far. Hasn't had too many chances. Almazer, though, does tempt fate. Lucky, hold the phone. He's making a huge gun for this. Does actually find himself into a position where he can reposition, find an open B bomb site. Because FaceCrack, although he'll get there in time, has to be still worried about that mid pressure. Lucky. Ooh, the doors, they almost work against him. There's the initial peek from FaceCrack, but there's some space for Lucky to be had here. There's still an isolated 1v1, but that molly, oh no, it's perfectly played. The utility burns him to a crisp. It's a commendable effort, but he falls a little short.
And this was the big round for AGF to win, because FORZE, sure, they don't have great money. That's true, absolutely. But they're very happy to go for MP9s here and start farming it up. AGF, now they've gone for the timeout to say, hey, do we force buy here? Do we try to punish the fact that the CT economy is probably poor? Or do we back off and rely on our own defaults? Do we rely on our own potential executes? Because so far, they've not been doing too well. So at this point, you could flip a coin for potentially bringing it very, very, very far back. But it's a difficult decision to make.
Yeah, and especially when you consider the most convincing round AGF had. Started out really well. It was like a 4 versus 1, and then they only survived with one player at the end of it. So that's why their economy is in absolute tatters at the moment. Well, they bite the bullet. They don't go for any real investments, and, well, the CTs will capitalize fully. Jerry's found 3 kills. The SMGs are doing the work that they're supposed to. And Frostlev, although he's found space towards A, it's very short-lived. A clean round for FORZE.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Frostlev has not been having a good game. And if I'm in AGF's shoes, I need him to be stepping up. Sure, Netric, he's 2-10, but realistically, Netric, for me, so far, every time I've cast AGF, has not been the big one to come in these big moments. Frostlev, very often, in very important moments, can come through in those mercy rounds, in those clutch rounds, and come up big. Now, though, this is a little bit more difficult. Luki finding 2 kills onto FORZE are very good, though. They read the early aggression towards the B bomb side, but FORZE, they're not biting. They're not going back to B. Jerry is still in A. They're still fighting this. Netric will win the duel, though. And with that, Jerry and XT Power are not even going to be given a chance to save.
So some very, very good entries from AGF, so that they didn't seem to be expecting at all. They had pathways into both of the bomb sites, but they didn't have the bomb. They had to go back and recover it. Fortunately for them, they were still able to find the picks to secure some sort of a path. And it seemed like Frostlev was going to rendezvous at the B bomb site. Then he's just realized, oh wait, exit power is still there with the AWP. This is certainly losable. Take the A bomb site that we know for sure is at least open for business. Exit power is still trying to save this AWP, but given that there's so much time available, there's still picks to be had.
XT Power. Unfortunately for him, he is not able to save the AWP forward. Now, they do have money for the double AWP, and they will go for it, because good old MP9 buy, giving them quite a bit of money in the previous round. But AGF with a very, very good round of it. I think the problem, though, is that we have to keep in mind Luki's not going to be able to get those 2 early kills from FORZE every single time. FORZE are definitely making mistakes, and great job on Luki to be able to capitalize on those, don't get me wrong, but it does get risky. Flashes go out, AGF are not going to be able to find any kills, but they get full control over long and pitch should they decide to go inside. FORZE have been forced off the angle, they're being forced to reclaim shot. But so far, it seems like the T's have got a lot of map control.
Yeah, even probing towards the B side of the map as well. Make sure that FORZE aren't getting a little bit too explorative, and that's when they'll push further forward. Netric crossing alongside his teammates, does find the entry, but there's 2 quick responses from FORZE. They've thrown exit power into a forward position over at Gandalf as well, where the AWP could have caused some issues, but he's been dealt with. Almazer kind of responds. TMB with the kill towards the A site. This bomb's dropped out in the open, so this is a big issue because Flit can just gun them down if they attempt the cross. Not exactly the crispest of movement from Christo, but he does accomplish their goal. Problem is, there's a flank coming in from Almazer.
That flank's huge, and it finds Christo, brings him down. TMB drops down, but he doesn't realize there's a player right around the corner, and his name is Flit, and that player is a bit of a beast. And that beast will howl, will growl, will take through any sense of life you can find. And there you have it. He's even... See, Flit's even so nice, he's letting Almaza get the MVP.
Oh, cute.
I mean, he's getting utility, but
yeah.
It's okay. I'll pretend.
Yeah, he's running around scavenging for parts off of the fallen AGF side. Could have even picked up the AWP if he, fancied a different skin, but there were so many AWPs kicking about that FORZE obviously don't want the trifecta.
I mean, they already had 2, so...
Yeah, and they don't have a third player, so
there's
really no hope. Either way, a good round from Flit, just being able to keep eyes on that bomb and just apply constant pressure from spawn. There wasn't any utility to force him back or negate sight lines, so FORZE were able to fully capitalize off of that. Kept a lot of attention his way that allowed that flank. FORZE, though, they go for some long pressure to start this one off. It does leave a weakened B and middle area for that CT side, but AGF are stagnant in a default. They're kind of posturing up outside of the B tunnels, seeming to want to execute that direction, but still throwing a bit of map pressure elsewhere to keep FORZE guessing.
What do you mean we can B? They've got a player in mid. They can defend both at the same time. Inverted dust 2 doors. Hurrah. What a smoke. Wow, that's such a cool smoke from Metric. From mid, he can smoke. Oh, that's insane, man. That is insane. Almaza comes in, takes him down, but he's done his job because it allows them entrance onto this bomb site. And now, Crosslev, he just needs to keep some flashes going over, get himself into a good position, start to pick up on where he hasn't been able to get to any frags. And with double ops, good luck retaking FORZE. You might have found a lot of success with those before, but this is not one of those rounds. What a smoke from Netric, man. That was insane. But now, FORZE could be even more insane as they come in from the B tunnels, where Christo's found a quick kill.
Yeah, back and forth trades thus far from the T side. They're still holding their numbers, keeping this advantage. They know that the bomb site still has yet to be cracked in these AWPs. They're coming back to bite them lucky as the smoke phase capitalizes on Flit, and while FaceCrack has won his respective duel, he does get traded exit power just to save the AWP into the following round. Yeah, that middle pressure, I thought it was just a distractionary play. It's a setup. It's that pop into the B bomb site that did so much work for AGF.
I need this demo. Like, that's all there is to it. I'm sorry. I need to steal that smoke. That's insane.
Great, I get to see more Dust 2 utility from you.
And that really puts FORZE in a terrible position. Because now Almaza, sure, you've got an AWP on him, but he's been tagged up as well. He immediately passes it back to XU and says, you know what? I don't like this as much as you do. You keep it instead. But very, very difficult round for FORZE. If they lose this one out, they still don't have great money going into the next one because their loss bonus isn't fantastic. So XC Power really needs to pull off some acrobatics and some heroics.
Yeah, still keeping AGF at bay, but now the utility flies towards that B-bomb site. The AWP is still close enough that it can contest. Exit Power able to get one, show that that AWP is in presence, but because of that smoke, he's going to actually fall as a result, firing off a bit more than he can chew, and a few too many shots. They're trying desperately just to keep hold of this weapon. Oh, Flit, he's got long arms. He's been able to weasel his way out, and this might just be the package secured.
Well, now I'm just picturing someone with really long arms specifically picked to be a CT because he can, like...
I mean, think about the practicality.
The corner. Exactly.
They can defuse from further away.
Like, long arm Joe.
You know, if this were another shooter, you know, be able to lean around the corner, gun sort of raised.
And moving further. Flit, however, will get a quick kill while he's fading away to save the AWP. As the save comes through, 9-5, FORZE do have an op in the last round. And look at this replay, man. Look at that. Oh, that's a perfect lineup. Wow, that's That's such a good lineup, man. It's beautiful. It just lines up straight in towards the B doors. Great stuff.
Shout out to the production team.
Thank you so much, guys.
Scratching
Now
that
the
itch.
real heroes. Yeah, they also put up with us, which is
True.
obviously quite important. Facecraft with the MP9, very aggressive early on. Molotov will help him finish off Christo, but TMB for the trade. 4 versus 4. And this is the big round, Yumi. This is a round where we settle the fate of AGF potentially. Netric coming in from the sideline, not expected. Finds that first kill, backs off, but he's pulled out the Molotov, and that will spell his death. XT Power peeks out, misses the shot, and that's huge. Frostlem comes up big. Luki as well, coming through with another one. Leaves Almaza in the deadly 1 versus 3.
It's a couple players low HP, but it's still not looking up for Almazer. Catches them just above the flames. Frostlem's the first to hit the deck. That's at least information for AGF to play off of, but Almazer still creeping further and further forward. He doesn't have the kit, so he has to move. He has a smoke at least to maybe deny some information, but he gets caught in transition. Smoke out, jumps down, lucky to take the headshot. AGF, another instance where they've kind of recovered a half. It started out a little slow. FORZE seem to have the ball rolling, and they pick up a little bit of steam towards the end.
Flit and Jerry, though, man, 16 kills apiece. Jerry, I talk about him a lot as good old fragging in-game leader, but he really is a good old fragging in-game leader. Because sometimes he just comes through with these performances where you're wondering, hey, are you sure you've got the thinking hat on?
We've had this discussion before. That doesn't seem to be an excuse any longer when you've got so many of them now.
Indeed, but he is particularly good at
Yeah.
it. And he has been for a while, but Lupet are particularly good at being our partners and giving us odds to keep an eye out for. 1.15 to 5, probably pretty fair at this point, but Netric bringing in headshots is probably worthy of a turnaround. Unfortunately, the turnaround comes from the FORZE side. They bring in 3 kills of their own. It's a 4 versus 2, and AGF, it's time to chew on a bit of your own medicine where you try to retake this A-bomb side. Luki will find one. It's very nicely done, but the trade is still very possible because Jerry has kept TMB at bay and now in the grave. Loki left alone, 1v3. No real chances over here unless he comes out with some monster shots, and there are no monster shots to be had.
Yeah, no monster shots. Reload out in the open. That spells a disaster. 3 letters in the name, but now 3 rounds potentially at risk as they force buy into this. Of course, the Deagles, the Scouts, you can make it work on Dust 2, but they've got, okay, FORZE have the PP Bison. That's, and the SG.
The PP Bison.
Oh, sorry, Bison.
You have to make the gun sound ridiculous so that people don't buy it. Flit, however, is making me sound ridiculous, which is not very hard to do when he's getting shots like those.
Okay, the Bison. This is the round on for FORZE. He got the kills he needed to over towards B. They've cleared out most of the path towards the A-bomb side as well. They're still looking around for stragglers. At the moment, AGF aren't really appeasing that sentiment. And while Flit, oh, to get another one. Oh god, the Bison.
Indeed.
TMB, don't fall victim to it. Oh, he's rattled off shots. He knows he has a scout. Surely not. I don't think he'll get the chance.
Well, I mean...
Yeah, okay. Whew.
Okay.
That's a sweat off my brow. I'd have to start respecting the weapon, and I'm way past that.
We spent too many years saying it's terrible.
True.
It would almost be as bad as if the Organ Krieg suddenly started. Oh, wait,
yeah.
that happened.
We don't talk about that one.
Yeah, the dark days of Counter-Strike.
For some, the ever so bright. The amount of teams that
Indeed.
did so well when that period was happening was actually, I don't know, it was invigorating to watch. It was very motivating.
Yes.
Anyway.
That's what's...
Yeah, true.
Anyway.
Well, it's just pistols. The Bizon is no longer with us. There's still an SMG in hand for FORZE, so they can clear out with face crack, but he gets dinked and naded straight away. There's everybody here on the AGF side ready to take these fights with the pistols. They're swinging out. It's a shooting gallery for the rifles, and fortunately for them, they're able to adjust their aim in time because there were some missed shots. But the FORZE can't keep the majority alive. There's no real damage done by those pistols.
12-6. AWP comes out for Christo. He has not impressed in this map. Neither has FROZE, unfortunately, and both of those two players need to start putting on their big boy boots and stepping up. Because AGF, this is make or break for them. If they lose this round, I do not think they have any hope of coming back into it. Even right now, it's a bit of a stretch, but with players going over long quickly and finding an early kill, FROZE left to do the trick. This could be a big round for them.
Yeah, the man you call out gets the opening kill. Good to see from AGF, exactly what they were hoping for. Christo as well, locking down things towards short. First kill found, the second as well. FaceCrack just trying to beat the Molotov, just trying to catch them out. And AGF are prepared. Now it's just Jerry at exit power to try and scramble something together. And unfortunately for them, AGF seem to like their eggs poached. Just playing it a little slower. Making sure it sears in the pan, such that nothing goes askew.
Listen, knowing the Danish scene, they probably like their players poached too, because if AGF has anyone who's stepping up, someone's going to come through and steal them away. There you go. Look, he takes an Exi power, eases the tension a little bit by killing another player. Great stuff. Jerry, though, he has the opportunity to do some good damage. That's what he's looking for. Unfortunately, he also gets CS gold, which is not great. He's 22 for 11, so the scoreline definitely looking very pretty for him. But we do need to see FORZE come through and make sure AGF doesn't really get any wind in their sails. They have the double op now. They have quite a bit of utility as well with it. So this would very much be the time for them to come in and come big. But FORZE, with a small disconnect, some small internet issues coming in for XC Power probably, they've given AGF some time to mull it over.
Yeah, and like you said, wind in their sails is a possibility, right? Just the fact that that must-win round, that sort of do-or-die time for AGF, they get it done, right? You get the performance from FROZE, he gets 2 kills where necessary, Christo with his own, and then you just have, instead of it being such a one-sided affair where we're likely looking at sort of a 14 scoreline for FORZE, it's now a much more of a game because FORZE can't get that ball rolling continuously, that snowball down the hill.
It's also something to keep in mind where players who have had insane first halves will often fall off in the second half, just because of the nature of how you're supposed to play changing, and because it's so difficult to go from, hey, I have 18 kills and a half, I am insane, to, okay, I need to now play as D side. You know, I need to push into them. I need to be checking these angles. Mm-hmm. Although these players have been playing for years, obviously, within a map, it's very easy to get into a habit. And one of the things that, for me, whenever I'm looking at a player and I'm saying, okay, this guy's ready to go up a level, one of the things for me is always, hey, if you've had a crazy round, a crazy half, can you at least have a decent half after that? Or are you going to fall off more often than not? You know, even if you're falling off 30% of the time, 40% of the time, that means for me, you're not ready to make the jump from tier 3 to tier 2, not ready to make the jump from tier 2 to tier 1. That kind of consistency is really, really important. And this is where, you know, FORZE, over the past few months, they have had issues with consistency. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. You know, they haven't always been, you know, coming out on top. Even earlier on, losing out to SG Pro, who is a great team, but you definitely favor FORZE over there. It's a best of one, so I wouldn't give it too much credence. But there's obviously places where AGF can get in, but at the same time, FORZE is pretty insane.
Yeah, and I mean, to sort of touch on that point where you're saying it's hard to remain consistent throughout even a series, even a map. We had kind of like a one-off series where we got to cast, I think, Nordavind, where HS was just game after game after game, just being a crazy performer. So it's not that those can't happen. It's just so incredibly rare, and that's why sometimes you'll have us sort of hyping up one player in particular because it's it's ridiculous that someone can be that
Yes.
consistent so well consistently.
I mean, there's a reason why 30 bombs are considered the hallmark of the
Yeah.
perfect game from an individual. You know, if you had a 30 bomb and, you know, you lose the game, you're like, shit, man, that sucks for that guy. He really, really killed it in there. Like, it doesn't matter what the rest of your stats are. It doesn't matter if you say, oh, hey, he had eco frags. It's really difficult to do that.
Yeah, it's effectively the triple double, right? You have that in basketball. That's the triple double is, oh, you've had a really, really good game. It's a well-rounded
I wouldn't go
performance.
that far, but yes, it's very close.
Yeah,
to that.
it's the closest
I would say
comparison I've got.
I would say the triple double would be if in a best of 3 you're averaging 25 kills per map.
Okay, yeah. Well, while getting quite a few sort of like flash assists. That's I see. Now that I look at it, now that you've put me on the spot, I'm sort of questioning my own thing. The triple double signifies way more than that. Never mind.
Yeah, the triple double is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, we move away from.
That's a perfect game, basically.
Yeah, you're not just a selfish one. You're selfless.
Yeah, indeed.
Anyway, we talk about
Speaking
teams, we talk about other games, but we've still got a game to play, and we've got the full team of Forza back in the server. 12-7. AGF just won a must-win round to keep them really contestable for the rest of this map. And Forza, they respond with a buy that does have face crack on a pistol, but a buy that still has a lot of strong firepower around it.
It's a Tech 9 though, so it's half a rifle right there. And XC Power's got double a rifle apparently because he gets to shoot equal to smokes and 9 kills consistently. FORZE though, he is a big boy on the shot. He finds himself 3 kills and Christo will come through with a good old alley-oop. Flit left in a 1v3, wondering what the hell just happened. Have we just been absolutely dunked on? And the answer is yes. Yes, you have.
What a round from FORZE thus far. Can Flit respond? Is there a response in him? Like you said, maybe scratching his head a little bit as to how things have transpired this way. The backside, he's covered. Netric has the fallback if he even attempts it. And he seals in the round for AGF, all off the back of a great hold from FORZE. You talked about him earlier, having a bit of a shy performance on this map. And now on the CT side, he's had a couple now big performances. A double kill in the round two rounds prior. Now the one just happened. 3 for him in a very contested spot.
Great stuff from FORZE. Obviously, what you want to see from a player who I think, look, I personally think FORZE is the best player. He just needs to up his mechanical ability a little bit, but his positioning and everything is generally crisp. It's perfect. I love that. So it's good to see him coming back into it. FORZE now have some legitimate contests because they need to come in with some big shots, and that's exactly what happens there. TMB goes down. That's one of the ops taken away. That's a little bit more money that the CTs won't have moving forward. So they've got to be careful if they're going to be planning on contesting these deagles over in mid, because that is never an easy thing to do.
Well, a lot of utility thrown over. Lucky is still tempting fate. He's throwing some flashes to make things a little easier. But the more you tease these Forza players, the more likely they are to make you question that choice. Well, moving over towards the B side of things, they are grouping up at the tunnels. Just outside of it is Lucky to hold the cross via the doors. Forza aren't really pulling the trigger as of yet. Almays are still probing in through middle, hoping that somebody peeks him, but eventually Forza are going to end up on this site.
FORZE, they have chosen wisely. They will come through with another kill. Jerry, who's in a great position, almost looking for the third. But FORZE needs a flashbang, needs some help. Here's the bomb being planted. Can't do anything about it. All 4 players are very low, but Almazo's positioning is perfect to prevent Christo from coming in.
Goodness.
And as a result of that, we have found ourselves a good old-fashioned, no Kevlar deagle round victory for the T side.
It all starts with this. Yeah, it all starts from this. That one kill just puts so much more pressure on that B site. And you can see they tried to get those fast rotations over. Jerry does so much damage here. And Almazer just stayed top middle the entire time. He just sat behind the boxes. He caught one on the rotation. It was a done deal. They just picked them apart with the deagles. And given that timeout we just came out of, or given the sort of technical issue we had and the round win and you know, you think AGF have gotten a bit more morale because FORZE has had some good performances, and while the AGF team seem to be clocking in on FORZE, they make a simple mistake. They challenge the Deagles and they suffer for it.
And the suffering is not temporary, it is continual, because now your money is ephemeral. Put it that way, since we're going with time-based words. It's gone. It's gone. It's been scattered to the wind. It has been blown away. Someone's gone and bought a new car with it without having the money to pay taxes. And now you had the car taken away from you. You've had the money taken away from you, and you might have just had your chance at coming back into the game taken away from you as well. TMB hoping to replicate FORZE's success with an Eagle, but it is a very difficult success to replicate. That first kill is quite good, though. If he can come through with another one, if FaceCrack goes down, that means his gun is also in a much more recoverable position. And FaceCrack realizes that, which is why he's being so incredibly wary. He's moving forward, pulled out the Molotov. When he trucks it out, GMB should get the kill, and indeed he does. Is this going to be the good old double Boggerino?
Surely not. Surely I don't keep playing with my emotions like this. The Deagles can't work twice. Surely not. Well, FORZE are looking to try and at least embrace sanity. Exit Power finds the one kill necessary. The two smokes aren't too successful, so there's danger still to be had. Frostlight gets the kill as well, so that's the bomb dropped in an exposed position. It's in the middle of those smokes, so at least it should be able to be weaseled out. Almazer trying desperately to claw back a bit more space. His teammate can't cross. They're both on low HP, and these pistols are deadly. It's happened. It's right back at it. Taste of your own medicine. Give us back our round.
I mean, I want to know what FaceCrack is doing with a Molotov in his hand, playing around the corner. See, that's my only question. Because you're alone over there. You know the guy just backed off, and you know there's always that 0.4 second window where you have to draw your gun. It just seems like a bit too much of a risk taken for something where, you know, I would have really preferred if he backed off and threw the Molotov from mid, where he's not at risk comparatively. You know, but unfortunately, that one decision where TMB is allowed a second kill. The first one's fine, man. You know, one D's happen. Second one is criminal. Not to mention there's failed smokes as well. Quite a crime unto themselves. But yeah, not a great round for FORZE.
Yeah, it seemed very indicative of panic. Just, oh no, we need to go now. And things not quite working out on the fly. So the round that has happened 2 rounds prior now undone. Things back into the status quo, it seems. But rifles have now been afforded up by FORZE as a result of winning a round that they shouldn't have earlier on. The overall a net positive for the T side. Well, AGF have these double ops and they're still looking around for FORZE players. The short burst is looking imminent.
Oh, wow. A triple wall of smokes. That's not something you see every day. It's actually going to be very difficult for the CTs because the flashbang will force Christo off the position. Netric is there to refrag, but it is still very difficult now that the bomb's been planted. There is that one Molotov to make sure that the short area is clear. FaceCrack can use that to get aggressive and take control of it. The AWP needs to be very careful, though, as there is Netric coming in the back lines. Netric finds that kill, takes him down, and now it's a 2 versus 4 for the terrorist side.
They're cheating forward past the Molotov. They both double swing, hoping to trade things successfully, but they're still not coming out ahead. They almost all line up. They're all facing FaceCrack at the same time, and he's cracking faces, but Lucky answers back. It's just in the nick of time as well. They get on the bomb before FaceCrack can cause any more issues. And AGF, they get to double digits. They pull it within 3, and they push the money back down on the FORZE camp.
Well, let's not count them out. We saw that crazy Deagle round, and now they've got themselves a half point at the very least. But FORZE is definitely getting closer and closer to that wall. And the second you push their backs against it, I am very worried. Mental fortitude is not something I always credit FORZE for. They're definitely able to, you know, come back. They're definitely able to do that. But losing a lead is different. I've seen many times where FORZE kind of does slightly capitulate just a little bit. But hopefully we can see them fighting it in at their best, and hopefully we can see AGF coming through just off the basis of some fantastic CS and not capitulation from FORZE. Christo, though, he has answered our call for excellence on the city side quite nicely.
Yeah, a couple of kills, does miss the run boost, but that at least compensates the second time around. In fact, it's all AWP kills from the AGF side. FaceCrack may just fall victim to the same treatment. Christo and
Because who
TMB.
wants kill bonuses?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just the fact that the AWPs are so confident. They're just moving around the map willy-nilly. Scope one place, dead. I'll move on to the next.
AGF have found themselves in a position where they can now allow themselves to have some hope. But hope is a very fickle thing, and if FORZE are able to take control over the B site early on, if they get the read that AGF are sending 4 players towards this A site, things get tricky. A flashbang can very easily catch out Christo. The problem with the new problem with soloing an AWP over towards the B site is the fact that it's so easy to flash it off from the upper tunnel because it's literally the only weapon where you can't see the flash coming. Almaza takes down Netric early on. Great start for them. That'll be giving them a bit more room to work with and a bit more room to force out CT rotations on long.
Yeah, still 4 smokes remaining on this FORZE side. No flashes, however, so have to be a bit tricksy about how they space themselves. Make sure at the very least if they're not flashing people off angles, they're there for trades, but TMB gets away with murder. The one kill, he backs off. Christo with his own AWP, the double up setup for AGF still finding a lot of effectiveness, and this becomes a problem, right? You can't engage these ops in an outright duel, surely not. Exit Power is trying his chances, but they can't flash them off the angles. It has to be a straight peek, and all the meanwhile, they're busy with the B-site presence. Frostlight comes in with the flank, the bomb's dropped, and although Almazer has a path to the site, he needs the bomb to actually make it a feasible round. He'll try his hand at it, though.
That's a big kill, but unfortunately, he's not expecting the second player to come in from behind. He thought Frostliv was all he had to deal with. When Frostliv goes down, he's like, all right, fine. Pay attention to me. Unfortunately, just not the case. And now, you're looking at what should be an equalizer. And what should be around where FORZE should try something crazy, because they have actually bought down to 1,000, so they need the bomb plan, man. This is really, really difficult. Is it the good old rush B strategy? Because they haven't actually gone for early B presence or an early B take ever.
And they know the AWP was playing their last round. I think that's very likely. Yeah, we see all the utility that they've brought in, the fact they're grouping and culminating, that is very much on the cards.
Yeah. Flashes go out, Molotovs as well, back towards back plant. Luki's been flashed out completely, and now you need to be very careful. These Tech 9s are on the site. Can they get the bomb plant? FaceCrack super aggressive as he likes to be. Bombs going down, 5v5 retake, not the easiest in the world, but when you've got this much utility, it all comes down to the initial duel in lower tunnel. And Almazer comes out on top there, but Christo is there for the trade. Luki and TMB trying to come in. FaceCrack takes down TMB. Can he find more? XC Power has recovered an AWP. He's moving over. He's trying to support. FaceCrack just needs to waste enough time. Almazo is caught off as Frostlev has been given the call to keep an eye out for XC, as Luki was making sure that FaceCrack can't get busy. A very good recovery from AGF in that round, but FORZE looked like for a second would be able to come through.
Absolutely. Very, very close call on that B site. Good patience as well on that retake. The fact that it took so long for Exit Power to get his hands on that AWP and come back to the site. AGF weren't over pushing. They weren't making, they're making sure that it wasn't going to end up in a crossfire situation, and they deal with the threat accordingly. A good recovery that could have been a lot worse. It does do some damage to the economy, but that's a conversation for another round, as it's full buys galore and a fast play towards the long side of things from FORZE. They get the kills they need to as well, but they're still sticking around. Netric doesn't back away from that fight whatsoever, and Christo is here as well. There could be 4 players dead on the AGF side momentarily if they're not too careful. Christo Molotov in. So far, all the utility missing him. Oh, he's out in the open, caught in transition. TMB is here as well. It's taken that long for the round to transpire on the side of Forza. And TMB, he's trying to be tricksy about it, trying to peer in towards short, but he just gets gunned down from the real problem area. Long.
I do not know how XC Power missed that shot onto TMB initially, but that's just unfortunate. Forza come through with a great spawn. They're able to get the early duels out, and that's obviously something with the CTs. You just feel bad for them. They had 2 people, 3 people close to the perfect spawn for long, and when that happens, you're having one player rush the pit. You're having 2 of them contest by coming out soon early as well. So it's just very, very difficult, unfortunately. Forza, though, they use that good fortune to their advantage, and they are able to capitalize, which is obviously always good. Now, though, this is the big round. AGF, if they lose this one, no more money. And you're back in Hellraiser's territory where you can make the comeback, but if you can't drive it through, it doesn't matter. AGF would really like to step on the pedal. And Forza is playing this so much more conservatively than they did in the previous round. They're just backing off for a default. They're expecting AGF to go aggressive. They're expecting these ops to make a move because they know they are still available. Otherwise, TMB doesn't come over. Frostlev, this is the position where he started turning his game around, but the one boost is going to be difficult to deal with when Facecrack comes in and takes him down. He's even able to cast the perfect timing where Netric had a flashbang in his hand, so he couldn't even come in for the repeak and the refrag. So now, in a 5v4 with 45 seconds left on the clock and good utility on the T side, they've got full chances to monopolize and control this round.
Yeah, they're keeping their occupied towards A as well. TMB, out in no man's land. The 1 kill, the trade from the T side. Lucky has to fight for tunnels control, and he gets it. That's at least the minimum that they needed to try and retake into the site. Lucky just trying to stay alive to allow the 3-on-3 on this B bomb site, and it may still just be a call to save. It's still an AWP that has to be pulled back in towards this bomb site, and there's not a whole lot of room to work with. There's the fear as well that there could be further push players, and they don't have the most amount of utility to flush people out into the open.
This 3v3 is so difficult. It's nothing like the Boss B site retakes. And with a flashbang, Facecrack thought he could get aggressive, but Lukey catches him out. Christo, however, will be the casualty exchange. Amaza and Jerry in great positions. Off angles maintained, and Jerry will take it home 15-13. AGF, I feel like they have come very far, but unfortunately, this could be the end of their journey to Malta.
Yeah, this isn't looking like a healthy buy from AGF in response. They've come close in pretty much every game we've seen today. The train one, a bit of an oddity, some back and forth exchanges, but this has been a much tougher fight for Forza. On their own map pick, AGF have a lot of fight in them, but the weaponry may be the disadvantage that pushes it over the line. A 16th round potentially on the horizon, but these double scouts, they've yet to find the damage that they're looking for. They've yet to be engaged in the proper ways. A good little silver lining for AGF is that while Forze is exploring the map, for now the bomb is still down in the T-spawn, but going back to recover that now is exit power. So there shouldn't be any impending pushes. AGF can still rally their forces, but it does seem like short control is on the cards for them as well. Frostlev may be the man on the hot seat.
That seat is burning, but he will come through with the quick kill. AK picked up as well. 4 versus 3 now. Molotov coming in. This time XC Power is not going to be put at risk, so things are much more doable. XC. Scope down mid. AGF is trying to find something more, but right now it's only Forza on the kill feed. Frostlev, however, is always good for another, as is Lukey. Frostlev comes through, and again in the round where they needed him the most, comes through with 3 kills. This man went from being like 2 kills at the end of the first half to now being on 20.
Yeah, I think that's 100% accurate. That's actually incredible when you put it into perspective like that. He's had so many high impact rounds as well for AGF. None more big than that. And a timeout called, just to make sure that You know, we've not got the adrenaline flowing so far out the veins that you can no longer know how to use your hands anymore. This is talking about what they think Forza is going to do, how they tackle it, because the weaponry wasn't ideal, but they still managed to pull ahead. And it's again off of a bit of short pressure from AGF. Maybe that's a fixture, maybe that's a point of contention that Forza don't really know how to deal with into the mid round, because Frost has gotten the better of them 2 or 3 times in that position now.
And Luki, I mean, lots of props to him. I haven't been saying his name too much either, but he's very quietly been getting the frags steadily. You know, he's had a few explosive rounds, but other than that, largely it is the consistency we were talking about. Unfortunately, it's not always there map to map, but it's definitely there now. Cherry comes out big and takes down Frostlev, though we've seen this before where they get a good spawn and they're able to dominate that side, but the question is, can they get more? Last time they were good for 3. This time TMB has revealed his position. They know he's in the back lines, and so he backs off. It all comes down to Netric around the corner of long.
Yeah, spawn-based peaks for the Forza side. Netric still holding strong, like you were saying. Christo looking to reinforce. They may just try their hand at this. They're not sure if Forza could have backed themselves away. I'll have to look for a bit of information as this comes into crunch time. Christo with the kill, the secondary as well. Netric will hit the deck, but there's trades from the Forza camp. They keep a man advantage ever so slightly, and Lucky, he's looking to try and stop them from pushing much further. He hears the steps. He doesn't know quite if it's every single one of these Forza players. For now, they sit still. 45 seconds to get this execute underway. The smokes come through.
And that's Lucky's cue to come peek out with a flashbang. He needs to be careful, though, because TMB only has a scout. That's not an op. He's got good utility on TMB, though. The question is, does it ever come to use? Lucky trying to take them down early. That nade could be massive, but it needs to come in big. Unfortunately, not quite as clutch as they wanted. The Molotov, though, catches them out. Face crack goes down. There's 20 seconds on the clock. And now it's a 2v2, much more doable. Lexi Power's assistance is needed. The bomb's been picked up. Flit's going for the plant. There is no more utility. AGF, can they get this done? Flit's going to peek out soon. Flit can't find the kill. XC Power playing from card. They might not be expecting this because they checked it earlier and he wasn't quite there. And now TMB is taken down. Pulls out the pistol. Can he get the kill? Yes, he can. It's overtime for AGF. It's TMB with a Molotov and a pistol. An unlikely combination, but it's one that'll take them all the way.
The utility combo on the site. The nade, it didn't quite cut it. The flames, it does all the rest. AGF, that looked like they should have been out of it. The utility was exactly what brought them through, and it works to a T. We talk about some great performances. We've talked about Lucky. We've talked about Frostlev having some great games. Jerry, casual 30 bomb, just at the end of regulation as well. He gets the entry in that round as just at the very start of things. And while Forza aren't able to capitalize, has put them in a great position to put them over the line, but just a better effort from the last 2 remaining AGF players. Wow.
And Jerry's all right. I've heard he's a good lad.
He's pretty good.
Yeah. You know, might be worth checking out for a team of some time. Almaza, however, in the meanwhile, Molotov goes through. You know what? I was always surprised that there were never any rumors that Jerry would be the in-game leader for Na'Vi before Boomich came in. I was very surprised by that. But hey, I mean, Na'Vi's probably pretty happy with Boomich.
Yeah.
They won Katowice, so why wouldn't they be? TMB, with the flashes coming through, is going to be able to lead up with another quick kill. The op to take down XC Power, but he is mollied off and his position is known. There's no grenades that'll come through in the follow-up, though. So he has a chance to come through with another quick kill. He's put himself on top of the car, but that's a ride he doesn't want to take. Repeaks out again. This man is bold. He's brave. And he is a line away from foolhardy.
Brave enough to catch them both not even looking his direction. They thought there was never a possibility he'd repeak.
Not a third time, surely.
Yeah. The very least, Forza don't suffer any casualties. They don't get caught out by that mistake. Still a 4 versus 5 in which AGF are favored, but in a TMB, he had no chance to reposition. He was always going to be at car. Almazer was patient. But 30 seconds left to secure one of these bomb sites. Forze aren't even really grouped up for this. I don't see a clear target in mind.
FaceCrack has the bomb. He's over towards the B bomb site. There's 2 players here. FaceCrack is now dead, and so is Jerry. So AGF, they have very much taken advantage of how much time TMB managed to waste. Yep. Christo peeks out again, takes down Flit. And the fact that TMB is able to re-peek there 3 times is not just a matter of how, wow, he's a madman. It's also a matter of, wow, he just stopped them there for 15 seconds. That's a lot of commitment for players to be there for 15 to 18 seconds. That's crazy.
Yeah. Might have even been longer as well, because Almazer just sat in there waiting after the smoke. That's one piece of utility you cannot buy, unfortunately. But yeah, that wasted time may be why FORZE have called that timeout. Just some mismanagement of that. The spatial awareness wasn't quite there either, although they had the majority of their team towards the B-bomb site, still very hard for the middle and A-site players to get there or really have too much impact without AGF kind of serving it up on a silver platter, which of course they're in it to win it. They want to perform the old switcheroo. You take our map, we take yours. So they're dialed in.
Well, flashbang goes out. Jerry is hoping for another kill. They found so much success with good spawns, but this time success goes the way of the CT side. Grenade as well chucked over, another Molotov, and finally Jerry finds something, but Luki on the other side is combining forces with TMB to make the Mega Droid, and that Mega Droid will come through and finish things off. It's the Mega Zord, not the Mega Droid. I forget my Power Ranger references.
The Power Ranger references went right over my head. It was an amalgamation of players, I'll tell you that much, and while they might not have been Mighty Morphin, they were... it's just a lot of fighting.
Mighty strong.
Yeah, it was a brawl.
Indeed.
AGF
Pub's already open.
Yeah. You say pub's already... Okay. AGF. They've gotten the 2 rounds to start off this overtime. It shows exactly why they deserve to have pushed it to this limit. FORZE haven't found that space yet. Have actually fallen flat in the past couple. Feels like they've lost it in the first 30 to 40 seconds of both of them as well. So to gather their thoughts and try and pull 1 back, because 3 in a row doesn't spell anything good for their CT side.
TMB, flashbang is avoided, and he is put into a bit more... This is so difficult because Christo is right around the corner with Frostlev behind him, but once again the run boost comes out on top. Christo's brought down, Frostlev drops, and XC Power with the P250 follow-up from the off leg will make this a slightly more difficult round for the CT side than perhaps they expected. Jerry, meanwhile, looking to drop down, looking to come in, find that player in the back lines. It's a sloppy spray, but it is a complete one. With that, Luki has to defend, has to put up numbers, but unfortunately, this round's pretty much over. Frostlev in a 1v4 that is very much too tall of an order for him.
Yeah, it seemed like he let Jerry just pass by his radar without any consideration for his teammate. Very unfortunate for the AGF side, but FORZE get the round they're looking for. It's not 3 in a row. AGF don't get each round to the overtime, and so there's still that chance. A 2-1 is very, very normalized, and FORZE will hope to have a more successful CT side. It's always interesting coming into the overtimes because it always comes with that caveat. After that first half, you're swapping back to a side you haven't played in what has been 18 rounds.
18 rounds.
So, do you remember how your opponent played? I know you still know how to play your spots, but did you make small adaptations?
Also, your opponent now has 16k, so do they make small adaptations?
Yeah. It's like, we only made those choices because we had no money.
Yeah. So, it is very much it's a weird game of Counter-Strike when you get to overtime, put it that way. Molotov in front of Christo. it won't deter his visibility enough for FaceCrack to not be taken down, so he finds the early kill. It turns out that good spawns go both ways. Almazer and company are hoping to find some of that CT side magic that they had in their hands before overtime began. Let's see whether or not they can make it happen. Great timing on the smoke, though, coming out from Flit over here. He's got good utility as well in the backline, so if these 5 players are coming in, this is really difficult. With a nade on your feet, that can be expected really quickly. Almazer is also playing so close because he knows they need to find out early on where they're going.
Yeah, initially it seemed like they were just going to go for a late B pop, but given the utility that's been used, they're exploring other options. Oh, actually setting up for the smoke we saw before. The burst in through B, the smoke from top middle. Now they'll converge. The doors are smoked. Almazer atop the boxes. One he's good for, but the second not quite so well. Flit able to get at least one as well, but the trade's successful for AGF. They get themselves onto the site and they still have that lurking pressure from Netric as well.
Jerry and XCPower, the ultimate retake for their lives is on. You do not want to give AGF map point under any circumstances. Molotov comes in as well. Jerry flashbangs in his hand, but this round is very, very difficult for them. Flash goes out. That does reveal his position. TMB knows exactly where he is, and he takes him down. XCPower was spotted crossing over, and he will fall. That's actually one of the things, very quickly to note, that makes the B site so difficult to retake, is the fact that if you're throwing a flash from close to window, anyone who's playing on the safe angle inside the bomb site will hear you throwing it. It's just a dead giveaway of your position at that point.
But what a round from AGF. Another time we get to showcase that smoke, one that you highlighted previously. And a very crucial one at that. They're close to taking this map and the series to a third map, in fact. And, well, the triple up setup that they went for because they had so much money, they've picked apart the FORZE side. It's just Jerry and FaceCrack in an instant.
So Inferno?
Yeah, it seems like we're headed exactly there. Destination very much certain. Netric dials in the last 2 kills, 19-16. AGF have pushed us to a map 3.
And one that was definitely unexpected, but one that is very much awaited. Inferno was a map where they showed some glimmers of brilliance, but obviously it's also a map where FORZE are quite comfortable on from time to time. They have their moments where they stumble, but all in all, it's an all-right FORZE map. But this one, wow, what a performance coming through from AGF to bring it back from a 10-5 deficit initially. Or was it 9-6? It was a 9-6.
Yeah.
I just checked. It was a 9-6,
the 9-6 half.
So a 9-6 half, but still they bring it back. We've seen 3 instances now where AGF have a abysmal start, but they start to bring it back later on. So mental fortitude is there. This is the first time they've actually closed. If there's one thing I'm hoping for in the next map, it's that they don't start being 7-0 down.
Yeah.
That would be quite nice.
If they don't start in a deficit every time, maybe they start with the lead. God forbid.
Gasp. Hey, it's fine if they go with a deficit. Because honestly, this is the problem that they're having, which is that these players, because of their inexperience, do not have a mental reset. They have to have a reset internal to the game, which is what we saw going from the first half into the second, where Frostlev and Christo went from being at 2 kills and 9 kills respectively. Don't quote me on that, but it was single digits and low single digits at least, to being very much near the top of the scoreboard. Frostlev had like 22 kills by the end of regulation. Christo was sitting at 19 as well. So that reset off the half is really what helped them push through. So definitely where you can see some of the lack of experience maybe coming in, but it's good that they have that at the very least. It's good that they have mental fortitude, and that's something I have to commend them for quite a bit.
Yeah, I echo some of the same sentiments. The fact that we had such a big rebound from Frostlev in particular was really, really good to see. And I don't know what that lays out for Inferno, because we've seen it once already today, but against different opposition. We weren't really sure we were going to get there altogether, considering it was almost in the palm of FORZE's hands. But we have Inferno. That is a pretty good map for both teams, so I'm excited.
Well, we'll be back with Inferno because Yumi is excited, and I know you are as well. Map 3, lower bracket, elimination inferno. Right what you want. And I've got the man right next to me who I would want to be here because you were here for the first 2 games. So
True.
It would be quite weird if you just ran away in the middle, Yumi.
Yeah, I'm not going to quite bail on you yet. You know, I thought, you know, going into that second map when we had the overtime, I thought it was going to be a bit more tightly fought. But AGF seemed to have a grip of things. They forced the third map. They wanted it to go the distance. They're not quite out of this yet. Second time they're playing this map today. So, you know, they've got a few more impressions, a bit more information to delve off of, at least closer in the memory banks than FORZE may do.
And I mean, listen, earlier on we saw Forza playing Train for the second time today, and they won. So, you know, it checks out. AGF has won this best of 3.
Wow, just like that.
Yeah, easy.
Well, I think we may need a bigger sample size for that, but you know, you can't argue with the one and done statistics. So.
Hey, it's 100%. That's what it is.
See, I want to disagree, but technically not untrue. Either way, I'm interested because obviously it's not a situation. We talked about how AGF going into Train wouldn't have been able to know how FORZE played, but like we sort of preface with that, the idea of being able to iron out some of the creases, have a bit more of an understanding of how the timing should look like on some of the executes, because sometimes you know, put so much time into scrims, you put so much time into practice, and when you get into the game, it's not quite meshed together in that same way, and it takes a little bit of a wake up for some. I don't think that's ever really been an issue for Forza. I haven't seen too much of AGF to really show them that same merit, but the points still stand. Maybe they've ironed out some of those creases. They looked back at Inferno and the reason that they're in the lower bracket, now fighting for their life in this week's State of Play for Malta Vibes, that there's still a further run for them to have. They want that nice little trip to Malta, the boot camp.
I think one of the problems, and the $25,000 aren't bad either, to be honest. You know, they're reasonable. But I think one of the other really big problems, though, is also that we need to keep in mind is it is very difficult for AGF to get everything together on Inferno compared to the first map of the day, because it very much was firepower. Like, you know, their players weren't hitting their shots, and yes, I will 100% say that their players were sometimes in positions where they shouldn't have been, but largely it was just them failing to hit their shots. Yeah. So, you know, I hope that doesn't happen here. I hope they don't have to go for the 8-round deficit breathing room that they require. I hope they don't have to, you know, have the rope around them on the hangman's noose before they decide, oh, wait, I'm not guilty.
Yeah, basically, don't start in a mega deficit before you start realizing you can actually play the game, I think is it's a big takeaway.
It's like having the guillotine on top of your head and be like, you know what, guys, I actually didn't commit the crime. I'm good. I'm fine.
Oh, well, in that case,
I was just doing this for dramatic effect.
Yeah, and we've had our little romance novel. We had our little Cinderella story. Not quite what I would class as a chick flick, but either way, it's I
mean, Cinderella lost, so I guess you could say it's a chick flick because of that, because she found what truly mattered, which was a win on Dust 2. What's your favorite chick flick, Yumi?
Probably the only one that I've seen multiple times. Probably She's the Man.
Ooh, that's not bad, actually. That's actually a good shout.
Yeah. I don't think I was ever really, like... I live in the UK, so this might be a bit sacrilegious to say, but I've never really been super into football. I used to watch it quite a lot with my dad, because obviously he's quite into it. But, yeah, it's never quite hit that same mark like some of the more Americanized sports, and, well, esports as a whole, so...
Are you a big NBA fan? You referred the triple-double earlier?
Yeah. Used to be very sharp eyes on that.
I appreciate that. It's good. I quite like the NBA as well, but I quite like myself some Counter-Strike, and that's what we have for ourselves over here.
Love
We
that
do
one.
have some dunks, we do have some alley-oops, and we are going to have some long-range shots, but they're all going to be on Inferno. So let's see how it goes.
Yep, starting on the CT side are AGF. Forza are going to have a decent amount of utility, only one set of nades, no real execute presence. Very likely that some sort of B pressure is at play, and it does seem like they are going to initially go there to probe, but look at the position here from AGF. They want to get into their face again, this sort of pushing style we saw at the first game of the day. They tried to adapt from Hellraisers, and, well, they don't find anything for it, but at least a bit of information gained, and they can reinforce this B bomb site. Just, it might not be there in time.
Almaza has moved in onto the site itself, still traversing forward, trying to find something. It's XC power to come in and come alive. But the problem is the two players still on the flank. Face crack finds Christo. And with that, Netric is contemplating whether it's worth just saving the Kevlar, possibly. If he can find the kill on Flit, that's obviously fantastic. But that's a big if, and Flit will cancel out any conditions and will cancel out his life with it. Luki, all they can try and do is frag. Give him one chance. What's the problem? He sees no... Actually, I'm not going to complete that song lyric. Never mind. One for nothing. And AG... Oh! Okay, never mind. I thought that's a really cool graphic anyhow. But we've got ourselves a very important graphic. It's a graphic that our good old pals over at LootBet give us. And you know what? The previous game, at the end of the first half, AGF had the odds of 5 of winning that, while FORZE had a 1.1. So I'm not implying anything. I'm just generally saying that's a crazy previous game. And LootBet's always good with helping us realize that with their fantastic betting odds.
Yeah, it's been a pretty rough day to predict these games. I wouldn't want to be put quite in that hot seat for the LootBet guys. Well, AGF, they take the pistol. Sorry, Forza take the pistol, AGF on...
Buy the pistols.
Yes, indeed. And while they try their best to contest as the utility flies over towards B, they have to go through smokes to try and contest, and while there's a smoke to cover the entrance, they get nothing for their troubles. Jerry even finding a kill through the smoke. Netric firing off desperately, but it's looking like a pretty done deal. The site fully in Forza's control, and AGF are just trying to retreat with what little they have. I think they should be able to get away with, at the very minimum, 2, given the distance that those players on the A-bomb site have. Netric is still fancying his chances, however. And I don't think AGF or Forza should hunt too aggressively, but given the SMGs, I'm very likely wrong.
I don't mind throwing some MAC-10s at the floor. That's all good.
Yeah, don't want it for the gun round anyway.
Yeah, realistically, I mean, listen, bonus rounds are what we call them, but really what it means is that, man, I really wish I didn't have this MAC-10 in this round.
Yeah.
They are going to have to go for the good old pat on the back consolation prize of a bonus round, though, as now... actually, no, I'm lying. They have... Sorry, the HUD glitches made me very confused for a second, but they have a pretty good advantage. They can actually farm quite a bit of money.
Yeah, a couple of smokes that may run delay tactics for AGF, but that's a very small silver lining.
And could get a quick double nade pop, hopefully. It's always fun to see on an eco.
Yeah, they're throwing them, and while the nades will do some damage over towards Flit, no kills found, and they're tracking these players down. Frostlev under a lot of pressure. TMB, good dink found on the USP, but down to 20 HP himself. And while Almazer takes both heads on the B bomb site and secures passage.
Netric and Luki are unhappy soldiers, and they have every right to be. At this point, Luki's wondering, why did Netric have to go die? He was the one with head armor. He could have saved that into the next round. And, well, Luki, I'm wondering the same things as you are. But you're probably also wondering when that player will come around the corner and take you down. It's face crack to do so. And because Forza keep on finishing these rounds with every single player kept alive, they will indeed have the bonus round, but they do abandon one MAC-10 at the very least. Flit is having none of it. He knows he's very good with an AK-47. He wants to have that, and that's actually really good to see, because whenever you're in the 4th round as a T side, you do not want to have more than 2 MAC-10s if the CTs have full buy, because CTs will have Molotovs as opposed to 3rd round buys from CTs, where they're either not going to have Molotovs or they won't have an AWP. So there is a little bit of a different dynamic on either one, but obviously it can be pretty major.
Well, some good banana control gained here from AGF into their first gun round. Of course, Christo's on the AWP for that CT side. And should this go askew, we may end up in a very, very familiar situation where AGF start off on the back foot, looking to change things around. However, TMB pushed down through the banana smoke, catches Jerry off guard. So they found an advantage to work off of, and it forces FORZE to honor that possibility that maybe he's still lurking in the back lines, maybe he's still in towards those T steps. But once they clear that out, then they can go back to establishing some more map control. Issue is they've used a decent amount of smokes trying to clear out the brackets, only for them to then be distracted by the flank.
Flashes can get them onto the B-bomb site, though, and that's very important to keep in mind. Netrik's Molotov is crucial, and he knows that. That's why he's backed off instead of trying to spot for longer the second he hears anything, the second there's any information. Because he knows the most important thing he can do at this point is let go of left click when that CT smoke comes in. That's exactly what happened. It gives him some time and the opportunity to take down Almazar. The T side is very much congregating behind that molly. Netrik can move back into new box. This is a huge round from him, and Christo's repositioning should give him a chance to quickly get a kill. Christo baits the shot out to distract them for a little while. Netrik with 3 kills, and Flit left alone will find one. But there's 3 seconds on the clock, and Flit will not even have the loss bonus going into the next round, even if he does do quite a bit of damage onto the CT side. And he's got 4K, so actually, he's fine with that.
I think this is the first time we've seen AGF with a round win before, say, round 7, 8,
yes.
Yeah?
The 7th round, this is the first time. So far, their best has been being down 6 rounds.
Yeah, so they win their first gun round on their CT side. Things are looking up. Maybe they've cracked the code. They've changed the wind. They've adjusted their sails, and I mean, maybe things start to look up. FORZE, of course, with so much money built up over those last few rounds, it's a dent in their economy, but they're still finding success. Well, Netrik actually finding the kill on towards Jerry to start things off. He was far pushed up towards Banana, trying to capitalize on maybe some misspacing from AGF, but there's nobody there from FORZE to trade. They can't make up for any of the space that he created, and TMB even peeks on through as the smoke blooms to take down Almazar.
TMB backing off, barely gets away with 20 HP as well. It's a life he's very fortunate to have, but it's one that he's very happy to put to good use, because being alive on the B-bomb site with an MP9 is terrifying. There's so many spaces to dart around and jump around and use that mobility. But over here, FORZE have congregated, have recollected themselves over in Banana yet again, but the retake on Banana is on. Christo's found the first kill. They've dropped the bomb, and they know it. XD Power will find one as TMB was going for the jump spot, but the flashbang forces off Christo. And because he has some backup, he's not too worried. 35 seconds on the clock once again. No Molotov this time around, so maybe the CTs aren't quite as fortunate, but Christo finds one. And he's been enough of a distraction to let Netrik come through. 2 rounds on the board for AGF. You know what this means, Yumi? Either they win, or they definitely don't make a comeback.
Yeah, no comebacks to be had if the score is so close together, right? So
yes,
that whole premise is gone. But they've now pushed FORZE into awkward buy territory. They, of course, can still buy up the rifles, but now the coffers have run thin. There's no reserve cash for the FORZE side. That, I mean, although they are building up loss bonus, they need picks like that from exit power to see the round success. And while FORZE start off with an opening kill, AGF, how do they adapt? Because they found the entries in the past couple of rounds. They're stacking towards A.
Yeah.
They've pulled the rotation so early on.
This is really, really really good from them because we know AGF are not afraid of saving 4 guns, and we know their money is not great right now. So if you can get a quick round, that's great. Frostlev unfortunately can't find the 2 shots he wanted to have onto the low players, and XC Power is next to find another frag. What looked like a great decision ends up in being a great catastrophe as FaceCrack gets away with a single point of HP as well, making it 5 players alive for Forza. AGF will not save anything, and they are now in a bit of a pickle monetarily.
Yeah, I think you know those little pop-ups you get after a round where it'll say this guy took damage from this many players. I'm pretty sure FaceCrack took damage from 4 different players and he still survived somehow. So that is a little bit ridiculous. But yeah, AGF have run out of cash in their own right. That was a swinging round at that. One that is worth its weight in gold, likely 2 rounds primarily. And while this is easy cleanups for the FORZE side, they're just barreling through using the rifles. They know it's not going to be a strong buy of anything, which it hasn't been from AGF. So it's just Netric with a P2K.
Jerry's in 1 dink territory. I don't actually know how much the P2000
I think he has to be like in his face for the kill if he wants the 1 dink.
Well, there is a USP on the ground on his right. So, you know, all I'm saying is, Netric, if you don't get that kill, it's because you didn't pick up the USP. Ooh, what is that?
It's another
we see
P2K.
Here? Oh. I can never tell between a P2K and a P250 if it's in the dark, to be honest. It's a struggle. It's also a struggle trying to find anything in this situation, as Netric has found out. Almaza says, hey, I've got a P2K too, and you don't have head armor. There we go. 5 for 2. Forza will have to face up against a full buy of AGF. This is a full buy that is, it's actually reasonably strong. I thought they'd have a few more difficulties going into it, but, man. See, I am overly critical of these things, but I just hate the fact that TMB goes for head armor. Unless he's peeking into bedroom. If you're peeking into bedrooms on the upside, that is perfectly justified. Otherwise, I do not like it. Smoke's going out, Molly's going out, Banana Control is the name of the game, and Jerry is very, very much an expert.
Oh my dear. He's taking so much damage, he's gone down to his own Molotov. Forza.
Oh, I thought Jerry got a kill because I just saw Jerry on the kill.
Yeah,
never mind.
Yeah, he killed him.
He is not an expert, I lied.
It is, yeah, that is certainly not ideal to start things out for Forza. Jerry's been very spaced out in general, looking for those entries aggressively. He had so much success with it on Dust 2, but thus far has been pretty hit or miss for Forza. They're still ahead, so there's still some room to breathe in that manner. And he has secured them some top banana control. There's still 3 players here from AGF, though, that can cycle out utility, try and play delay tactics, while Flit investigates towards the A side of things. That smoke from Christo, though, does signal where he was moments ago. Does mean that there has to be a bit of more of a concerted effort from the FORZE side to flush him out into the open because of that ult.
No more utility on CT. Can they find the kills without it? Yes, they can. Christo even backs off to safety. The problem was the player in apartments, but he's not a problem when Lookie's here to provide backup. Christo doubles it up with another one. FaceCrack is able to find one as is Flit. So a 2v3 is possible, but not when Lukie and Frostlev are going to be able to take those duels and take it away. 3rd round in for AGF. They are going to keep it competitive. They are going to keep the AWPs up, but not quite the 4 alive, 5 alive money-making rounds that you kind of want to see from the CT side at this point, with how much of an economy Forza has built up.
I'm just excited. It feels like we're watching a completely different team. It's astounding to see. But what's also astounding is our partners over at Hellcase. I mean, they're the biggest and most well-known case opening website with over 100 almost 100 cases, updated case battles, dozens of giveaways per month, and more absolute unique features. You won't get bored with Hellcase, and you can use promo codes to save money and grab what you deserve. See, not quite the colors segue, but yeah, more than happy with that.
You have more time, okay.
Well, they've a bit more time, a timeout to be called, and well, Forza are right back into things. They've got a reinvestment, like you're sort of mentioning. The money isn't really in a sustainable enough spot yet for AGF because of the casualties they took last round. So this could make or break it.
Well, XC Power has very much broken Christo's body, as we got to have a nice little perspective of it lying on the ground, very much dead. 5 versus 4 with the Molotov going out from Netric means that this banana is very much going to stay in the hands of the CTs until a few more rounds, at least. But actually, I'm kind of curious. The T's are still fighting this, and that could be a mistake, but FaceCrack and XC Power coming in with more kills are going to be able to find the lead. Now, unfortunately, Frostlev is alone, as is Luki. Luki is not feeling confident in rotating, so Frostlev has to get aggressive, and that aggression is rewarded with a swift death via face crack. 58 seconds on the clock. Luki will have to look to save, and this is where Yumi, that economy not really being there comes into play.
Yeah, scared to move an inch just because of the lurking pressure that be from FORZE. And while they had Flit sort of investigating the apartments, clearing things throughout middle, he was hoping to find a rotator, but Lucky hasn't moved an inch. Still sitting at the grave and hoping that it's not an early grave. Rather a late one, as the round has basically been and gone. Flit is still going to be hot on the hunt. There isn't the most amount of money from the Forza side, but the significance of the rifle from AGF, it does make sense to risk it ever so slightly. We'll see if Flit comes out ahead, but Lucky seems dialed in on the angle, and, well, he has the advantage full-fledged. Don't think the remaining Force members will hunt that player down, but they'll sleep a little safer knowing that Lucky isn't trying for any wild shenanigans.
Where is the AWP? It's on the top of it. Okay, so there's no way he can recover the AWP. Yeah. I mean, you have to save here, right? You could force buy, but then you're walking into French Counter-Strike territory.
I mean, this is still a very different AGF, right? I mean, they haven't been in this territory before. They're usually fighting from behind all the way through. Max loss bonus to keep them on going.
And that's actually a really valid point that you bring up over here. There is a difference. There's a very big difference to coming back from when you're 6 rounds in a deficit, especially in the current economy, because it is significantly harder. Now, one thing I like from Forza is the fact that they've realized that, hey, they really like putting 3 players on B anyway. In the round where they don't have very much money, they're probably going to have a stack on the B side as well. May as well just try and send FaceCrack forward to probe the entirety of Archers. And then if he doesn't die, if he doesn't find too many people, we'll just take over A. And that's exactly what happens. There you have it. A few kills should be coming in from the CT side. I would like to see Luki save that AK-47 moving forward, but he's come in with 2 kills of his own, so there are some moments of wondering whether or not something is possible. Molotov to fly through as well. It is smoked off immediately by the terrorist side. And with XC Power taking down Luki, there should be a saved AK. Frostlev will move back, and TMB is just looking to find more damage, as well as maybe keeping this AWP on site long enough. He will be caught off while he's trying to retreat. Flit will take him down, and Frostlev saves that AK. So actually quite a successful round from the CTs, all things considered.
Yeah, came in with an AK. They'll leave with one too. Although they miss out on the armor from Lucky, he did enough damage to buy enough space, and, well, yeah, all in all, a net positive. So, Christo, do you buy the glass cannon off? That's what I'm setting my sights on. He does. And this does... I'd be worried if he goes for any sort of a top banana peak, considering how much of a nade haven that seems to be. Especially without armor, it can be a very, very deadly combination. So instead he goes over towards middle. We'll take up the arches over on the A site. Fancied himself a peek, but flashed off the angle. Forza, this fast pace, once again, it's not the anti-eco, it's the full buy, and they still want to get right in AGF space. Jerry throwing the smoke, but FaceCrack peaks before it. The AWP of Christo's found its peak, and Lucky springs in through from the apartments as well. Aggression from the AGF side are falling back all simultaneously. It's back and forth push and pull from the CTs, and Forza have lost significant numbers. Just Almazer and Exit Power left.
And right now, they're major quest is just finding kills. This is not about winning the round. This is not about making sure, hey, we're on 8 rounds. That's not it. If you can keep AGF's money down in rounds where their loss bonus is being reset, you're very much getting closer and closer to what could be a 10-5 half, a 9-6 half on your T side. And then you get to CT where XC Power is very, very, very proficient with the AWP. So Almazer, he knows it's all about the patience, waiting around the smoke, letting them make the moves, letting them make the mistakes. But he needs to find at least one, and Netric with the good old-fashioned Ferrari Thomas speak will take him down. So AGF get themselves 4, but they also keep 4 alive, which is much more important at this point.
Yeah, it does seem like there's just enough money for Forza to afford some rifles into this. Exit power back on the AWP. There's, I think, 3 AKs accompanying it. Or I may be wrong. I think there might be 2 Tech 9s. Even still, those are halfway to rifles, like we were mentioning before. So still certainly contestable, but a lot of it will hinge on Flit, Almazer, and Eggsy to get some sort of space for these pistols to operate.
They're so aggressive on TMB, though. And Forza, they're not able to punish that, so TMB can probably rotate over, leave... Actually, it's not TMB to rotate, it's Netric to rotate, which is kind of weird, given that he is the one with the smoke. He's not rotating. Okay, no one's rotating. All right, this is new. I don't know what's going on over here, but we do know that there's probably an A hit happening, so we should probably, keep an eye out on the terrorist side as they do look to get some control. It's face crack over on Archers. We probably want to keep an eye out for, who Christo is keeping an eye out for as well. Flashes to go through. T side, very much unsure about where to go so far. Not very much control that they've managed to gain. AGF's done a great job of keeping them restricted to brackets control only. And now, Forza, with 40 seconds left on the clock and a smoke right in front of them, they have to head into the B-bomb site. Or do they? Come on, Yumi, they're not really helping me out here.
Yeah, so much indecision it seems on the Forest camp. Even with the utility being deployed, Almazer's just probing on through, but they've still got some space. And he gets the kill on TMB. That's the Hail Mary that Forza were really looking for. He could wrap through the spawn. They've got 15 seconds to congregate on a site. They really do not have time for this. Forza, pick a target. Get this bomb planted, because 10 seconds left. They're running out of time. They still haven't found these peaks. AGF, they're just playing the time. They're sitting pretty. A desperate plant from Exit Power that gets cancelled by Frostland. That's it. That's the round. AGF win by default.
Well, remember how I said it in the previous round? Forza just had to focus on getting the kills, not the round. I think there might be a delay from the casters to the players, because that's exactly what they did over here. They're not able to get the bomb plant in. They do get a lot of kills. And although it's 7-5, I'm not even too sure if AGF is particularly happy with that, to be honest. I mean, what's their money at? They have a buy, so this is the big chance for Forza to capitalize, because if you take them down over here, I think AGF is down to 0 loss bonus. You're looking at $1,400 extra in this round, and you're down 8-5. That's a very, very doable 10-5 scoreline for Forza. But AGF as well, hold on by the skin of their teeth, and this is something to keep in mind. Forza, that indecision showed. AGF don't necessarily have to lose this round.
Yeah, while it still ends up as a situation that Forza may be able to take some silver linings out of, I think it's I'm a little tougher to convince. I don't think this is some grand darking plan. That looked very, very sporadic and confusing from the Forza side, and you hope it doesn't bleed too much into rounds to follow, because, I mean, I've been really impressed by AGF thus far in the series, and they will be more than happy to have rounds like that, but hopefully suffer less casualties.
Yeah. I mean, one thing is for sure, AGF have proven themselves at this point, and Forza is... they're an unknown quantity right now, because every round seems to be a different Forza, or at least every 3 rounds seems to be a different Forza. And right now, we're seeing the Forza that's got control over Banana. We're seeing the Forza that has control over the apartments. But where are they going to go? Flashbang comes in. There's a smoke over there as well towards the CT spawn. There's actually a small duel going on from the terrorist side, but that's only one player on the B side. And that is Jerry to come out on top.
And he's forced the rotation from Christo. So this A bomb site is looking more and more enticing here from Forza. Maybe this was the plan they hoped to orchestrate in the previous round, because Frostlev's moved as well. There's 5 players congregating outside of A for Forza, and they were almost about to rotate a third towards the B bomb site. That would have been the wrong call, but Frostlev's back to support Lucky. Now the flashes will come on through. Flit immediately deals with Lucky, but Frostlev on the site, able to get one, traded immediately by the Forza side, and this has to be a call to save. The money has been in a rough spot for a while, especially with the round that transpired previously. They need these rifles for a chance in later rounds. Yeah, I think the further and further we get into this, Forza are definitely looking pretty good for a projected 10-5 half. There's certainly a lot of questions that need to be answered. Forza, by and large, have been able to sort of hinge a lot of their offense off of individuals. The fact that they simply have Jerry isolated towards B and he finds a kill and it draws almost 2 players back over to that B bomb site just created so much more space. And so I'd certainly hope, especially with the series as a whole being so back and forth, winning each other's map picks, that AGF would be able to respond and maybe not get too caught up in the over rotations. Because if we're struggling to understand what Forza is doing with a mini map, with the player perspectives and everything, AGF must be very confused.
See, AGF has found the perfect solution, though. They're just sitting back in their side, chilling. Like, all right, it's okay. You know, you come to us, we don't come to you, you know? It's the ultimate luxury that they have for themselves. Unfortunately, one luxury they don't have for themselves is a very important one, which is one of firepower. 2 pistols are not going to be helpful. Lukey had to come up big, but he unfortunately goes down to a Mach 10. Not the best look for him. And Forza are looking to break 9 very, very easily off the back of 1 kill. Now, I've asked the same question I have asked every single time Forza is in this position. Are they going to hunt, and why aren't they? It's not been something they've put a lot of priority in, and I really, really dislike that personally, because AGF, I mean, you've won this round. They can't rotate from the B side to A fast enough to defuse. You've got to full buy in the next round, no matter what happens. Why aren't you hunting them?
Yeah, we saw it on a couple of rounds on Train, right? Where we go back to like the very first map of the series, but it did happen where they took the site, they had the numbers, they had the money, but they didn't chase. And what could have been a completely broke AGF for the following round ends up being a, albeit still not the best buy from them, but keeping the investment that they had from that previous round, I mean, that goes a mile.
Yeah, I mean, you've got an AWP. Look, you've got an AWP, you've got an AK. Both of those weapons in the hands of a player who has a pop-off moment can save a round for you without the other one. Now you put them both together, you give a Famas, you give some saved armor, you give the fact that that allows them to have full utility. This round is definitely anyone's shot, and yes, Forza should be winning this. But let's see whether or not shoulds will become reality. XE Power gets a good tag in, gets a follow-up, and Christo's down. Face crack through the smoke will add 1 more to the tally, and AGF, despite all our concerns about how much they can do, the answers are not positive. Forza looked like they were losing control of this half, but they're able to use the fact that AGF doesn't have the infinite loss bonus and carry their lead through, and this looks like it'll be a very difficult retake should AGF want to get that 6th round. However, come on, Forza, don't be like that. Don't be like that, Forza. Don't go to the A side.
Yeah, they are overly concerned with a cheated rotation towards B that they very may well fall into this from the AGF side. Flash on through from middle. They drop the bomb. Exit Power. He needs to come up with a few kills here if he wants to secure that package. And well, he's been dropped as well. The ult recovered. Lucky can upgrade. He's traded things successfully down to a 1-on-2. There's one man hot on his heels. That's Flit. He's just trying to secure this bomb, get it to the site, and then play the 1 versus 2. This is the correct play for FORZE. But Lucky, he's certainly making a good go of it. Face crack may not have an idea as to where he's rotated, but now he's heard the steps. Now he's prepared for the peek from Lucky, but he's just going to narrowly miss out on the timing. Lucky may have found an opportunity here to isolate some crucial 1v1s.
This is huge, Yumi. The P250 in his hand pulls out the AWP as well, but because he's made so much noise, FaceCrack has decided, you know what? Let's go for the good old wraparound while Flit's pushing you. And that's the 10th round for Forza. As worried as we may be, the scoreline is a tale unto itself. And that scoreline's not a pretty tale if you're a Danish fan right now. Forza, some moments where I had my breath held, but you have Flit coming in 13-4. I think that in itself speaks volumes. And that is a lot of the reason why they've managed to come through. And we've got ourselves the good old friends at Loopet who've given us the exact same odds, had the exact same scoreline after the first half as we saw in the previous map. So you never know.
I think it was 9-6 last time around, but yeah, identical odds from our partners over at Loopet. So interestingly enough, but I mean, you can see why. This time, a bit more convinced on the odds that Loopet have given us, because Forza are looking a lot stronger. AGF are kind of falling flat in these past few rounds, and look at the fights that they're taking. FaceCrack's gotten 3 to start off this round. He's not quite done yet. Flip pushing further forward. Oh, FaceCrack actually falling to Frostlev, but Exit Power's there to sweep up the rest. A pistol for Forza. This was the first time we didn't see AGF fighting for the comeback.
Yeah, I was actually just checking. In all 3 of the previous maps, if AGF was behind, they would win the pistol.
Yeah.
That's very important. Even on Dust 2, they won it. I'd like to say that at least, but I'd like to say a lot of things.
I'll trust it.
You shouldn't. We're going to go into this with AGF being mollied off and being forced to smoke up those Molotovs. They have forced Spotter into this, but that's a Galil. That's not a Hero AK. And Jerry is very quick to exploit TMB, who is right at his feet and will be put down at his feet as well. Christo comes in, somehow gets a kill through the smoke, and Lucky will be able to add another to the tally. It's Flit's 5th death, but it's a very impactful one as FaceCrack will follow up. 2 MP9s can fight back, but they won't be able to do so as Frostlev, with that Galil, comes through and saves the day. 6-11, you may have won the pistol, but that doesn't matter when you've got the T side immediately pulling out a Galil.
Yeah, and it's, again, the man that you kind of look to in the previous map to have a step-up performance. He's been hanging up there with the rest of his team, but a big triple kill to find off the back of a forced investment in response. So, yeah, we don't need, like you said, we don't need that pistol.
Yeah, it's all good. It's better to just reset CT loss bonus to 1400 anyway.
The Forza have bought Exit Power the Yule, so he really wants to take these fights. Problem is he has no armor, he gets tagged, and he gets tracked down. Flit will try desperately to recover some ground, but Forza have lost that investment, they've lost the site. And AGF, while they may not be making good headroom towards that bomb site, they can at least group themselves up and use these weapons to their advantage while the rotations come through. The trades are there for AGF.
Yeah. I think XC Power is really good on the CT side opping. I think he's one of the best oppers in Tier 2. I think you could actually make a solid case for him being the best opper in Tier 2, who, isn't... I mean, it depends on whether you'd call complexity Tier 2 for me. But I hate the fact that Forza go for this single AWP buy on him regularly. I really, really don't like it. Because historically, the players we've seen that on are Guardian, Simple, Kenny S, Cirque, Poison. The kinds of players who are transcendent oppers. And XC Power is really good. And he can actually op against those players. But there's a difference between being able to op against someone by holding op versus op angles and being able to bunny hop your way through arches, get to mid, flick to one person's head, somehow get 3 kills in the process of that flick in itself. That's kind of what it felt like when you're watching Simple and Poison and Guardian and his prime and all that stuff. There's a reason why the hero op is really, really risky. And Forza very often make it so XC Power doesn't have the op in a later round now. So in the next round, he can't actually buy the op at this point, when the rest of his team has a full buy.
Yeah, and it's not something you'll. I mean, can't attest to how many times I've seen it from the FORZE side, but you typically wouldn't expect some sort of heroic play to come out when you are ahead. Typically, a bit more cutthroat, maybe a higher stakes round. You're really looking for a miracle. I mean, the round after you just lose to a force buy doesn't really feel like the one. And especially, like you said, the fact that it has implications for their gun round. Not looking good. But some space now for AGF maybe to breathe a little. They'll have seen that AWP bought through, keeping an eye on Exit Power's economy. Maybe they have an idea that you won't have that AWP in play as AGF wrap towards this A bomb site, knowing full well that it should just be pistols from the CT side, but FaceCrack's found a kill, a secondary at that. FrostLife didn't have head armor. They found 3 kills, a 4th as well. Oh no, surely not. Lucky. Last man standing gets overwhelmed by the encroaching FORZE players. That's the round you're more looking for. I don't get it.
You have to be joking. Like, this is exactly what happened on Dust 2 on this exact same scoreline. FORZE just won with Deagles.
Yeah.
And then AGF immediately after came back and won a Deagle round 2. So that means AGF will lose this round because they don't have Deagles this time. That makes perfect sense to me. But by the way, can I just say, these are some of the most ridiculous round losses to anti-ecos I've seen in a while. And AGF is very systematically solid in their defaults, which is why it's so surprising to me that they're trying to speed things up as much as they are. It seems like they're not exactly playing to the strength of their structure, which is very much a very solid strength. XC Power peeks out. That's the kill I'm talking about from XC Power. Finds one, and there you have it. XC Power saying that he can get those 3 kills in the flick that I talked about earlier. Christo left the 1v5. I am regretting my words, but I am very happy with the outcome of it.
Ooh. That is nasty. AGF just get pulled together a buy. FORZE rallying after winning the round they shouldn't. And, well, Exit Power doing what he does best. It seemed like he had patience as well on the shot. Like, he had an opportunity to shoot one of them, and then they lined up perfectly, and that's when he decided to pull the trigger. Well, AGF now on just the pistols. This time around, I'm not expecting any surprises. It's Glocks, there's no Deagles, there's head armor on all the CTs, surely not. FrostLife still found a kill into the apartments, and the recovered AK is devastating. FaceCrack is gone. This A-bomb site is very, very exposed.
Well, FORZE are now in the unenvious position of being in a 3v4, but they're okay with that. Apparently, I should not be going for build-ups when I'm casting FORZE because it is a very quick little state of affairs. They get 4 kills soon, 14-7 FORZE. Despite slipping up a little bit, their recovery is there. The players are able to step up. You can see Jerry's always good for multiple kills in those positions. He's not had the most frighteningly good game this time around like he had before, but he's still 10-11, which means that he's really not seen that much action either, to be perfectly honest, because his team's just been cleaning people up. And XC Power, he's feeling confident. He's going for the peaks down mid. Let's see how it fares for him.
I think it's probably important to note that this is the first time that we've seen FORZE have a pretty tight kill disparity between all of the players as well. So the fact that everybody's coming online is a big part as to why AGF are feeling the burn so much. But still, AGF not quite out of it just yet. Flit pushing forward. How does he get away with that? 12 HP remaining on him and not a singular bullet converts.
No. He gets the first kill, then he has 12 HP, he re-peeks out wide, and then he gets it. And now Almaza, it's all about him, and he got the 1 kill he needed to make it a bit of an advantage. But what he doesn't realize is there's a player coming right behind, and his name is Christo, who has also found them the advantage. But does Christo know there's a flank on the flank, which is going to be...
The smoke towards CT,
like The Molotov is not going to be in time, though. Should be able to come in, but they weren't sticking it, and because they didn't have the kit. And unfortunately for Christo, he is not able to stay alive long enough to, just stall out the bomb defuse a little bit more. Otherwise, that could have potentially just been a round on the back of them not having kits, but FORZE even recover those kits later on.
Well, here we stand. We've had so many gross comebacks from AGF, some close affairs where they almost pull it back to actually winning their opponent's map pick in overtime. This is by far the tallest order that they've had yet. An 8-round difference between the two teams, and FORZE, they just need one round, one mistake, one great round from any of the players that have been performing thus far for FORZE, whether it's Exit Power, Flit, and, well, it seems it's Exit Power. Wait, okay, blind, not a no-scope. I was very, very confused for a second, but still, an opening pick for FORZE, and Exit Power just having a round. 2 kills thus far. The bait is perfect for Face Crack. He gets 2 himself, and that's it. It's done. FORZE emerged the victors in the lower bracket, and after